Hey, Stevie Nicks, settle down.
We're there. We're live.
Hello, friends. In some realities, we are known as Pharaoh by Torchlight. In others, the scions of hyperlocal coffee. But today, in this prime reality, we are, in fact, Team X. I am St. Brian, your dungeon master for today's festivities. Let's get the show on the road by introducing today's players to my right.
My name is Bothan Goldfish. I will be returning to Corbin Oakenthane, Hill Dwarven Bard Monk, who was in a bit of a sticky situation when last we met. And for me, we're going to go below me because he doesn't have a webcam because he's a scrub.
Hey, listen, I had to move.
Listening's all I can. Listening's all I can do because you don't got no cam.
You're hurting my very damaged feelings. I am a blind cleric. I have no camera because I have no furniture on which to place the camera. And I'm playing Hugon Valander, who, when last we left him, really wanted to kill himself some blackguards, but chose that, maybe that was a dumb thing to do, so he didn't.
And is also evolved into the Invisible Man right now.
Yes, pretty much.
So let's move to your right.
Yes.
Let's continue moving in the counterclockwise, the anti-clockwise direction.
Hi.
Yep.
I'm Mikey Goat. I play Thunic General Trunk, and when last we saw him, I think he was very confused at the fact that we finally figured out who was shooting arrows in places, and we didn't go running after him. Mostly because that's just what he thought he was supposed to be doing. Mm-hmm. But now he understands better.
Now I see.
He learned a little bit about himself and each other.
Oh, he was also very concerned about certain blackguards having serious throat problems, and he recommended a lozenge.
An herbal lozenge.
An urban lozenge, with honey.
From
druid-sourced bees.
Locally sourced fair trade bee. No, we're not going to start on that because that'll be a whole other side quest.
I'm sorry. I that's my fault.
I already have coffee.
The honey purveyor, honey purveyor side quest.
I would like you to know. I have introduced Caraf's brand coffee to other areas.
You're already on the expansion game, Bob.
We're expanding. We don't even know it yet.
We've already expanded into the realities of the Shadow Council.
Oh,
so
time is a whole wibbly wobbly thing. We'll get there.
Considering that this hasn't even technically happened yet, it's just our futurescape.
Continuing.
Well, we're immortal. I think we can fuck around pretty righteously right now.
Pretty much.
And
you have fun with that.
I can feel Brian being like, "Don't you dare!
No,
don't do this to
me.
Go
on, try
it.
Don't put that evil on me, Ricky Bobby."
Who's Ricky Bobby?
Don't worry about it.
Anyway, above the goats.
I'm Clues. I'll be playing Dren Gemweaver, a very tired Lord sorcerer, words, language, grammar, letters. Yeah, and I don't remember where the hell I left off. That's what the DM's job is for.
Yes, you were attempting to dissect Buck.
You were murdering.
That's right. I was not murdering him. I was just merely modifying.
I wasn't gonna kill him. I was just gonna look inside.
I just wanted to see how his little tiddly bits work.
So we did have ourselves.
We did of a manga, and I won't go any further than that.
We will.
Just out of interest, Brian, what is the name of today's episode?
It is "Gimme Shelter, Slight Return."
Okay, so I think it's time that we admit to ourselves there's going to be a lot of Boston references today. So just prepare for that, people. Yeah.
Okay, all right. That's fine.
Am I the only one who really wants next time that we're going to be doing anything to...
Oh, Boston. I thought you were talking about the band.
I am talking about the band.
Okay, well then now I'm deeply confused.
Me too.
I was about
Because
to
it's
say Boston
been
is even that.
because
That
it's
would be
been
silly.
such a long time. I think
Oh,
we should be
God.
going. And
No,
time
this-
doesn't wait for us.
Terrible.
It keeps
know.
on rolling.
This is the
You're
cheese
terrible.
grater.
Sail on a distant highway.
This is the spiritual cheese grater. We need this. This is the exfoliation. We need this.
we're
It's
revealing, we're
literally a
revealing our
song.
psyche's
It's
freshest layer.
literally a song called "Foreplay" (parentheses long time). Like, come on!
And we have
the-
now
And
we have now
those are the
revealed-
opening lyrics. How was I
We have revealed our psyche's freshest layer.
Precious layer.
I suddenly now I realize why I'm the oldest person here.
I'm sorry.
And you're asking far too much of my mind right now.
Right now, she only has Baby Shark stuck in her head. Yeah.
Look, I'm the dude that at the party last night got so angry that Postmodern Jukebox had Covered in the Air Tonight by Phil Collins badly. I yelled at a stereo.
Oh wow.
I was
Did
like,
they really?
no, bad stereo.
Bad
I rebuke you.
technology.
How dare you?
So, anyways, let's play some Dungeons and Dragons, folks.
Yeah. Let's fucking
So
rock.
we had a couple different situations, as were mentioned, where we last left our heroes. Now, when we the most, I don't know if pressing is the correct word, but it's definitely where we left the story hanging.
Mhm.
Not so much a cliff, but a steep incline, to be sure. And that was Corbin. Corbin had been looking for the Fiedlerson kids, the brother and sister, Laura Lissa and Quohan Fiedlerson.
Oh, I miswrote that name. Sorry.
Oh no, you are hereby banished until you think about what you've done. So he had tracked them down into a clearing in the woods
Well,
near the river.
What it actually was is Corbin knew that they were Viscani,
Mm-hmm.
or he figured out they were Viscani, so he figured it Solace.
Mm-hmm.
So he went to where he had thought about where he had found the most solace in town
During his various sojourns
Yeah,
out and about. And he had judged them as Viscani by their accents, by their
and
dress.
because the Viscani have a lot of dealings with the dwarven types,
Mm-hmm.
so
They do. So, small tribe. But we'll get to that. This will all be revealed.
I'm really excited.
You sound it.
No, I'm
Um,
serious. You can't see my face, but I'm smiling a lot.
Why does your smile face and your kill face look exactly the same?
Well, you see, there's a very good reason for that you don't get to know.
Anyways, so Corbin had tracked them down, and they were sparring with each
Mhm.
other, very much like if you had to envision something, very much an Elric Brothers sparring session from Full Metal Alchemist.
Gotcha.
that's one of them animes, right?
It is one of them.
It's
man.
one of them there.
So, and they had, and Corbin had made himself known.
No, he hadn't.
Well, no, because if they had turned and they had seen
No,
you,
he walked out into the clearing and stood by the.
by that I mean he was seen because he allowed himself to be seen.
Yes, he didn't walk up and go, "Hello."
He did not. He did not bat dwarf
No,
into the clearing.
nope,
So it wasn't that he was like doing the whole.
no.
But he
But
also
he very
wasn't-
much allowed himself to be seen.
Yes.
Cough, grunt, cough, cough.
Yeah. No, nothing like that. So, and they initially took a potentially offensive stance, but no attack had been made. They found themselves at a temporary détente, and
Well,
that is where we currently
Yeah.
find.
Well, what happened is they drew weapons, and that's when everything cut.
Yes. And we put the world on pause, and now we hit the unpause button. And if it were a VCR, there would be like there'd be a little dead spot on that tape right there.
When they drew weapons,
Yes.
was it like a loud, audible thing? Like, is it something that I could easily play off as like having heard and turn towards them? Like, because at least one of them drew like an axe.
Yeah, the big
And
guy.
It was quiet, so
Yeah, I think it's reasonable. Yeah, it wasn't a case of where they're now sneaking up on you.
All
It's,
right. So in that case, I will make it reasonably know that I heard that and sort of like turn to look over and be like, whoa, whoa.
Easy there, killer.
Easy.
What's with the weapons?
And hang on, I'm just pulling up their sheets here so I can have my point of reference. And Laura Lissa, the sister, says, "What business do you have with us, dwarf?"
I didn't have any business with you, lass. I was out for a walk and get away from, and just sort of like indicate the city and be like, I've often walked out here and taken a moment's solace and enjoyed the serenity of the moment. I didn't expect to find you here. Never found anyone here, really. Unless they were looking for me, but that's a different story.
And they're not advancing. Your martial arts training would tell you that they're in a neutral position. You look at, like, you can see like the position of their feet and like how they're holding their weapons. They're not in like,
they're not in an attack stance. They're just
exactly. It's not like, so you look at like with samurai, right? For folks, if you can imagine, it's like when samurai in attack mode, they hold a sword a certain way. When they go into more of a defensive part, this is more of a neutral.
These guys were like, they drew weapons because they were caught off guard, basically.
Yes. Yeah, it's more of a like a reflex, where they could move into any one of those positions. That they're trying not to show like an offensive stance, because that, can provoke, but they also don't want to seem cowed.
Well, I mean, that I know. Never mind, I'm not there.
Are they at yellow alert?
I'll just be like, look, I'm not here for a fight. I'm just here to enjoy the quiet. And if that's why you're here too, there's no reason that we can't all be doing that. I'll even share me water skin with you.
And they look at each other, and there's,
do I need a persuasion check?
Well, yeah, do a persuasion check.
Right.
But as you're doing that, they're like looking at each other, and there's sort of like unspoken language between the two of them.
Oh, that's a delicious sound. I haven't heard that for a while. That sound
It's a fairly delicious result as well.
Is it?
Dirty 20.
Dirty 20. I feel like there needs to be an emoticon for that, for dirty 20.
Just like a cover, a dirt 20.
Well, because not everyone calls it a dirty 20. A lot of people call them
they
non-natural
should.
20s.
I just like the sound. Notice it sounds like a D&D cover band.
Yeah.
The Dirty 20s.
Ooh.
I need to learn an instrument just so we can.
Ben Taylor and the Dirty 20s.
Ben Taylor. This here is Ben Taylor
Who?
and the Dirty 20s.
Just some guy I heard. I heard of a name somewhere of a guy. So they you can see there's a like a relaxing in their shoulders. They don't holster the weapons, but they're not they're not like
I'm not really expecting them to, because like
Yeah.
they're pretty observant of their own right,
Mm-hmm.
and they've probably pegged me for something, and I've got a staff, so like
Yeah, I mean they know who you are. I mean, they, you
Yeah.
know, there's your faction's not off to the best start.
The rest of them might not be.
them.
I've been squeaky clean, mate.
That's true.
No, but I'm saying group to group. You know, when you get the group
Oh,
personality, there's a clash of
like
personality.
between yeah.
Yeah.
And I'm just gonna look at them and be like, look, your group and I, like your.
Mhm.
Do you guys have a name, like your group?
And the and Laura Lissa, again, the sister, she seems to be the spokesperson. She says, not as such.
Well, regardless of the fact, we don't have to be enemies just because we work for different people. Let's share a drink and share nature.
Yeah.
Just enjoy ourselves.
And they you see a little this little tiny glowing thing crawl out from like behind Kohan, the big barbarian looking guy, crawls out and like is perched on his shoulder, and you can kind of hear like this, it sounds like almost bells. You're at a distance, so you really can't, it's very, very slight, but it is a quiet place in the woods, so it's not like impossible to hear it. And you can see it's like in his ear, and you can see he's like listening to it.
I'll cast speak with animals.
Well, it's more that the distance.
Well, if
at
it's
the distance
if it's
right
close enough for me to communicate, surely I'll be able to hear it.
It's more that, so if you think about it, when you can hear a human voice from far away, you know that it's something, but it's not so much that you can make out individual words.
Ah, okay, all right.
Like a warble and a pressure of sound.
Exactly.
Then I won't.
Yeah, you're aware that there is communication happening, but not so much that you're like, I wonder if I can hear what they're saying. And he then whispers something. He then whispers something to his sister, and forgive me, I'm looking for something specific because it has a name that I need. But that you can see them like whisper back and forth. And what am I looking for here? Why can't I find it? Here we go. And he says, and this time he calls out, and he's got this very deep, booming voice, but it has a surprise. It's a gentler voice than you were expecting from a mountain of this size.
Mountain dude.
And he says, Master Dwarf, you look familiar to my eye. Do you perhaps, were you ever perhaps in the Waterdeep region?
Aye. I've walked many miles upon the lands of Faerun.
And he like whispers to his sister again, and he calls out and he says, are you perhaps an Oakenthane?
Oh snap!
I have not hidden this fact.
Oh, shit.
And he says, may I approach?
I did invite you over to share a wineskin.
He says, I always find it polite for me to ask before I approach someone.
Appreciate that.
And he
I'd expect no less of one of the Viscani tribe.
and there's a look between him and his sister, and he shoulders the axe. Casual.
Mhm.
He's axe casual now.
He's axe casual. Yeah, totally.
He acts casual. Anyway,
damn
no, that was completely unintended. And he walks over, and he when he gets close to you, he still maintains a distance, and you get the impression it's not so much that he's keeping a distance from you because he's worried about an attack. It's more that he is probably within reach of your staff, but you're not within reach of his axe.
Yeah.
And you get the impression he stops that distance on purpose.
Yep.
And he reaches into a pocket on his belt, and he pulls out what looks to be a coin, and he flips it over to you.
I'll let it hit the ground.
And in front of you is a coin that bears the seal of Tamsin Oakenthane.
Interesting.
I'll. Where did you acquire this?
He says, the settlement that this dwarf runs did a great kindness to us and took us in when we had no home and no food and required medicine. And I can't help but notice a familial look to you.
If you knew the goings on of that settlement, which, for your reference, I'm not sure if you'd have picked it up while you were there. I'm not sure how long you were there. Would be known as, I can't remember what we called it now.
It's in one of our tweets back and forth.
Yeah, I'm actually looking at our history right now.
I'm stalling so I could look.
No, it's fine, because I was doing the same thing, because we've got it, and we've got this history in like 3 different locations. And between the two of us, you think we would eventually have brought it into one place, but just not
Oh, I've
yet.
got it in one place, but I can't access that place without shutting the stream down.
In my noggin.
You would know it as Kaz Galore.
Yes.
Then you would know that I have no love, Amson. But I hold love for the settlement you speak of.
And he says,
Oh.
no, he says, there was no mention, but he did pay us a kindness, and the people at the settlement were very welcoming when they had no need to be.
You always did appear nice.
For certain, we all wear masks.
Oh shit!
I'll dip down the staff
and
kind of flick the gold piece back to him.
And he just palms it. Yeah.
Not in like an offensive way. Just
no,
sort of
no,
like
it's just ding.
Yeah.
Field hockey.
Yeah, kind of.
It's D&D Pogs.
If you and
oh
I'll
my god, can we start D&D
branding idea?
Alpha's back in Pog form.
He was going to come to that.
I'll look between him and his sister,
and
I'll say, if you don't mind me asking, you say you needed a great kindness. What is it that led you there?
And you can see that Laura Lissa is still a little reticent to take a step closer, and this little thing pops up on his shoulder again, and you can see it looks like a tiny winged person,
like a fairy.
Yeah, you could call it fairy-like, and it zips
it's not
over.
an animal.
It's
not an animal. Okay.
And it zips over to Loralissa and it grabs her by her cloak and starts like dragging her over. Not like bodily dragging her, like it throws her on the ground and just
Just like
but you can
tugging at her a bit.
yeah, exactly. And it's like, chirping in her ear and so Loralissa starts, walking over and as she starts walking over, Kohan says, the brother says, my sister and I had escaped from slavers, and we had been on the road for a very, very long time, and we're very near death. And it seemed that no one was looking to help us, or we were concerned that they might actually turn us back over to the slavers. So I'm guessing you want to do a perception check.
I want to insight check this motherfucker.
Insight. Give him sight beyond insight. 20. All right. So you detect nothing but sincerity.
Okay.
There's
from
nothing
both
about
of them.
So what? Okay. So but let's
Because bear in mind, I'd kind of read her earlier in the day.
Yeah. So we're gonna section this out.
Okay.
Right. So in this segment over here, in this part of the pie chart, which is the two of them, you have Kohan. You are picking up sincerity. You're not picking up any attempt at deceit. And his body language, his general demeanor, his posture is that being relaxed, and so you're picking up that there's the body language is telling you, okay, there's a level of trust here. Not necessarily completely open, like, hey, buddy, let's go hang out. It's not like that, but he's not worried about you, trying to whack him in the face or do something like that. Loralissa, again, you're not picking up on any kind of deceit. She less trusting in her body language, more so. If he is a wolf that is not feeling threatened at the moment, she's more of a cat that is warily approaching. That's you know how like cats kind of where they're like, I'm not going to eat your face, but I'm not.
I'm really thinking about
it. No, not so much that I'm thinking about, but it's like for the moment, we're not enemies. We're not friends, but we're not enemies.
Yeah.
And he says, and we honestly didn't know where to go, who to trust, and some of the dwarves of the settlement found us near death on the road and brought us, and Tamsin offered us food and drink and medicine, and even turned away the slavers and sent them to in a different direction when they came looking for us.
I'll unhook the water and the wine from my belt that I prepared last time, and just put them on the floor between us. Because if there's one way that you make friends with a cat, it's by feeding it.
Not wrong.
And curiosity is going to get a little bit the better of Corbin at this point, I think. And he will say, and what took you from being on the verge of being slaves to being saved by a noble people working Duke?
And by this point, Loralissa is close enough, and she says, it was a job. We couldn't stay in we couldn't stay in the settlement. And I'm as the DM, I'm saying that because I haven't memorized the name yet. But she says we couldn't stay there without further endangering them. The slavers would have eventually figured out that we were that they were sent on a wild goose chase.
I understand that, lass. The person you're working for right now isn't much better than the person escaped from that settlement shelter from. And I'm not here to be in it, but if you're going to talk about hospitality, as Golder showed you, and how grateful you are, makes me wonder why you never check up with a person that holds another man's family hostage in order to get into work for him. Plenty of jobs out there. Here, there's going to be a cafe opening up soon.
Bouncer, need someone to run the place.
Oh.
Responsible people.
Yes.
But we see he had a dream.
But let's
Corbin
get back.
had a dream.
Let's get back to.
And he says, he.
No, this was a question directed at Lorelissa. Corbin is looking at Lorelissa.
No, but Quohan turns to her and he says, he says, I feel you can trust him.
And my eyes aren't leaving though.
And
I mean, I'm aware of the boy.
Mm-hmm.
But.
Mm-hmm. And so, and he actually sits down, cross-legged in front of you, and he has this enormous axe like across his thighs, like across his legs. So it's right there. It's ready to go. He's just got to stand up if he needs to. And again, it's more of a practiced position. You can tell. And he picks up. Now you put down a water skin and a wine skin, or
a wine skin, one of each.
And he actually picks up the water skin and takes a healthy pull, not like a whole chug the thing, but he takes a healthy pull, and you can see he's been working out,
chug the thing.
So, but he does that, one, because he's thirsty, and two, you think as a way of showing his sister that hey, it's cool. See, good. See, no, I'm not dead. Everything's cool.
Not foaming at the mouth. Well, not for that reason.
Not for that reason.
Okay.
Well, no, he's a barbarian, isn't he?
Huh?
He was. It was intimated he was a barbarian.
He is, yes. So. Yeah, he has his moments.
Yeah.
And so she, she crouches down.
And now they're both at my height.
But she like crouches down, kind of like on her haunches. Again, very, very cat-like, where the dog is willing to kind of, chill and will get up very quickly, whereas a cat will almost never leave that ready stance. And
until they're completely comfortable. Yeah.
Yeah, exactly. And she takes and she picks up the wine skin. And she takes a swig from that, and but she can see she just like gets like a little bit of it on her lips.
Yeah.
Waits a second, and then she takes a drink, and she says, "I needed a teacher," and Magaine, who is the other girl in the group, the other woman in the group, she says, Magaine seemed to be the only one that could teach me, and unfortunately this is the price of my education.
You what?
And you can see she like concentrates, she closes her eyes and she concentrates a bit, and you can see her shadow like moves around her, and she's able to like get it to like lick up a little bit, and you can see the shadow kind of moving and shaping underneath her, And eventually she's able to get it to reach up a little bit, and she's able to put the wineskin on it. But you can see she's like really concentrating very hard. She only does it for a second, and she picks up the wineskin, and the shadow like retracts.
I will smile a little bit, but that looks incredibly familiar to me.
Mm-hmm.
And
she like, it's good, like lets out the breath, and
this is worth innocent lives.
I mean, when you put it like that, Jesus.
And Quohan says, the brother says, it was consuming her, and it was as a matter of necessity. But sometimes we wonder if the price for this education is too high.
Your boy, Davgold was his name?
Which boy?
The archer?
Oh,
Davgold Dryadson, I have written down here.
Davgold Dryadson.
Dickerson?
Yes. No, he's in the other game we play.
You know what? That he and the Duke tried to do today? Not today. Was it 2 days ago, I think? 2 days ago?
Roughly 2 days ago, yeah.
Oh, with the
bomb.
Yeah, with the selenium bomb.
Right. So were this a comic, it would be that refer to issue number.
You know what he tried to do.
And she says, yes.
I'll explain why you stood that way outside the
inn. And she says, I fear that we have ended up in just another form of bondage.
Well, I'm not going to kink shame you, lass. But, you ain't wrong.
So we're going to come back to that, because I just want to, there's a couple of things, because this has been a good conversation.
One thing I want to say before that is I want to start a small fire. Just so that, because it's probably going to be getting darker.
No.
Like, just a normal, like...
Yeah, no, I understand. Yes. Yeah, a normal, regular
I figure
person.
them having worked out, they're going to get cold soon.
Yeah.
And sort of...
A responsible fire.
Yes.
So you're not just going to pile up some wood and...
On that particular scale, we've got the Dren fire, we've got the responsible fire, which is at the opposite end of that spectrum.
Yes, there's no grease involved. There's no explosion. Well, there might be explosions, but not intentional explosions.
We're talking like at the chemical level.
Yeah.
Of combustion. Yeah. So.
But yeah, just want to. I want to like almost have the camera zoom out on him starting the fire.
You got the kit and tink, tink. Okay. So now, where else had we left our heroes? We had left some of our heroes, Thunic and who's the other bloke? Hugon.
John?
That was a major brain fart on my part.
It's all right, man. Listen. I understand that I haven't been present. Okay, like you don't need to do that. That's not required.
Who's this guy that's playing D&D with us?
Okay,
that's me.
Whole different time zone. So you guys, when we had last left you guys were in the home offices, or I'd say the regional offices of Team X, of Acquisitions Incorporated, located ever so conveniently in the basement of the Silvered Harrier. And you guys were examining a map that Dren had so deftly pickpocketed, acquired.
I do believe they finished examining the map.
Did they?
And they had turned to what was the robot's name again?
Buck.
Well,
no, Buck was over.
No. Hang on. They turned to ask Buck a question.
Yeah.
And realized Dren had left with Buck. and gone, "Oh no, we need to stop the gnome," and raced out.
Is that where we left things?
Yes.
Yes, but we
More or
could
less.
use a refresher as to what we learned from that map.
Well, the map had a lot of lines in it that didn't correspond to any sort of roads. And what it was showing us was that certain lines passed through Pinedale, certain lines passed through Elboulder, certain lines passed through Neverwinter, Waterdeep. There were notations on the map that I can't remember exactly.
One of them said, "See you there."
Yeah, something like that.
Yeah, there different notations on the map, and they didn't appear to correspond to any roads or any topography that you were aware of.
Right.
But you also had tried, Thunuk, you had tried doing a cartography type check on that and did not, and were not successful. So might be worth looking at later. But anyways, so you guys are running over to the shop. Is that where we left things off?
Yeah.
I believe so.
Okay.
Like it was that comedy moment of them looking at each other and going, "Oh shh."
And fuck.
And then
Did
it
that-
cut, and then
yeah.
it cut, and then it cut to Dren with a little bit with Buck, and Buck being like, "You don't have access to my."
Oh yeah, that's right.
And then it was they were just about to like bust through the door.
So yeah, so Dren, you were actually accessing the you were trying to access the source code, but you ended up getting to like the terms. You were stuck in the
The EULA?
yeah you were stuck into the terms of agreement, the end user agreement, with all the, and you were going through it line by line because you were trying to find out more about Buck here.
I just had this.
Oh yeah.
Where she's like, "You're trying to access the source code," and suddenly you're in a room with lots of televisions and a man that speaks in lots of pointless words. And I could just hear Dren in the back of my head going, "I set him on fire."
Clearly, this man is a demon, and he should be destroyed.
Fire.
So you do the bit of information you were able to access so far, or at least able to glean from him reading through verbally the entire, basically the credits, the surface level stuff you were able to get to, was that he was built by Team Honey Badger at the Zaz Skunk Works in Waterdeep. You had done work with them before. You knew, you're aware of the team.
Yes.
So
So
there's a trip to Waterdeep in our future.
Oh yeah. If Buck has something to do with Waterdeep and then all this shit, and I'm being blocked by something, once this is wrapped up, I just want to march straight there. Buck in tow.
So you're it's still reading off all the information, and Thunuk and Hugon. So what is your plan of attack here?
Open the door, pick up Dren.
See Dren with like.
Well,
a
no, I see you
screwdriver.
guys are kicking open the door and doing the Three Stooges thing where you try to go in at the same
Yeah,
time.
same. Look, it's the Three Stooges trying to get to the door.
He's every one of the Stooges.
He's just like, get in. Although considering Thunuk is significantly faster than Hugon, he'd probably get there first, open the door, go in, and like, why did I come here again? Something bad is happening. What's bad? Crap.
So
And
you walk
Hugo
in.
is like trying to push him out of the way, like fucking move.
Crawling between his legs. Get me in there. And she and Dren has one of the access portals open, and you can, and Buck is sitting here just reading off like all of like this technical language, nothing that would really like probably register with either one of you. It's in neither one of your wheelhouses. And I'm Dren, would you be sitting there like just taking notes furiously? Or are you just like
Yeah,
absorbing it?
I'd be like looking into stuff, taking notes, looking over the whole like terms of service bullshit, and be like, okay, I can find a loophole here. Let's write some notes here.
All right, and
It's like the most detailed and OCD that you'll ever see
Hugon,
read about.
If only you had a documenter.
shouts
Yeah.
into the room, "Buck, emergency shutdown."
And the eyes pivot over to you, like this, like the Buck stays like where he is, like the sphere doesn't move, but there's these two blue eyes that kind of like circle over to you, and it says, "Please confirm command. Emergency shutdown."
As long
Confirmed.
as we can turn him back on again.
Yeah, we can probably turn him back on. We can't put him back together.
Well, the point is, we literally have him in the future, so we have to be able to turn him back on somehow.
Okay, well, that's a good point. Confirm command.
And so it immediately shuts down, and just this it sounds like this heavy ball of metal just clunk, just hits the ground and just kind of rolls off to one side, because the stabilizer units are off.
Is he okay?
I don't care.
Thanks.
Dren, I don't want to hear a goddamn word.
I think you killed him.
That's like total dad voice right there. I was getting somewhere.
I don't care. All right? New rule. New rule. You ready?
No.
Ready for the new rule? Okay. You don't talk to Buck without asking. You don't touch Buck without asking. All right? You've lost your Buck privileges. We trusted you.
You're on Buck probation.
We've trusted you with Buck privileges, and you have abused them, and also almost murdered Buck, and now you don't get to have them anymore. Do you understand?
You're gonna get your Buck privileges back when you earn his Buck trust.
I'm gonna
Buck.
no. I'm gonna look around at like my tools and my notes, and Buck stand up. Look at Hugon. Sure, Dad. I won't touch him again.
Yeah, cool.
And Hugon's like, and if you're crossing your fingers, I'm gonna cut and fuck off.
During this whole interaction,
I'm a
Sonic
hell
is
of a lot meaner than your father.
poking Buck with a stick. Is like, he's dead. He's killed him.
Hey.
Hugon knows magic words.
Thunuk.
When did you become magic?
And
How did you do that? Did that work on me? Don't do that to me. We're friends.
You need to calm down, Thunuk.
and as you poke him, you hear Buck like powers back on, and he starts going through, like, you can hear it going through like the reboot process, and like there's a shutter, and then like the stabilizers come back online, and he's back up, and the eyes blink back up.
Buck, you're alive.
And it swivels over, and the eyes swivel back over to Dren. The eyes turn red. Swivels
Whatever.
back. But then they swivel back, and they turn blue again.
I like don't care.
Well, I mean, that's evident. I think we knew that.
So Buck is not dead.
He better not be.
So Buck is back alive. You got some information about where he was actually manufactured. You guys prevented Dren from taking him apart any further.
As was the goal.
And like I said, that was Dren's big quest, was to miniaturize Buck,
Make him pocket friendly.
make him pocket-sized.
Pocket Buck.
No. No.
It's like a PDA.
Remember, with cell phones, we all went from big to small. We got to get through that, and then you can go back.
They've always been small for me. I'm very young.
From the
Yeah,
Zach
whatever.
Morris phone.
Yeah, they used to be bricks.
No, There used to be things you have in your house.
Besides that, I'm talking about when we went mobile.
Like,
Oh,
I,
Yeah,
I
it was
sit
the
here
wireless
now-
phone you had in your house.
I sit here now, and everyone's like, "Oh, it does this and it does this," and I have to sit there and go, "Does it make a fucking phone call? Because it's a
I've got
phone."
Yep.
Get off my lawn.
You rascally kid.
Stupid stereo.
In fact, get off your own lawn.
Go away forever.
So what is it that you guys would like to do with this with your current situation here? You have a still functioning buck, and you have a map.
Hugon holding the map in hand and like
Mhm.
sidling past Thunuk finally into the
Mhm.
shop proper, like very pointedly rolls Buck away from Dren with his foot
Mm-hmm.
like a brass basketball.
Probably.
says- Buck, what can you tell me about this map?
And you see Buck's eyes like change a little bit, and it does like a scan of the page,
Mhm.
and you hear what's the equivalent of a dot matrix printer as it's
Okay, good.
scanning.
I know exactly what that sounds like. I do.
That's what the internet used to sound like, by the way.
Yeah, I remember that part too.
and you can see he said Buck says please hold, cross-referencing, and then he sort of just floats there, excuse me, kind of in the corner, and you can hear like some gears turning, you hear some clunking, and it says finding reference for shadow gates. That module has not been loaded. Add additional modules for additional information.
How do you add additional modules, Buck?
And a little section opens up in the middle, and it looks like there's like a void there where you could insert something.
Like a book-sized void?
Not quite. A small book, a paperback, a penny dreadful.
Okay, all right. Well, Buck, where would one acquire such a module?
Modules.
What is a module, Buck? Can you explain that a little? What is a module? I assume it's like a book.
And he says,
Is that accurate?
He says, yes, modules are like books.
Okay, well, just say book then.
Parameters updated.
Good.
Insert book for more information.
Fantastic. I know what a book is.
And he says, additional retreat books available at the following locations, depending on information required: Candlekeep,
Online, it's your
Waterdeep,
local retailer.
Neverwinter, and it just starts listing like places where there's like large repositories.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, and he lists like a bunch of like libraries of where you can find where you could load more information. And he says Shadowgate module located at Candlekeep, Waterdeep, Acquisitions Incorporated headquarters.
That's
Okay.
the third time in an hour that we've heard the word Waterdeep.
All right. Well, we're not in any of those places. Let's see here. Okay.
Would it be
So-
nice if you knew a little gnome that likes
Shut up.
books around?
Shut up. All right. When Corbin comes back, we'll ask him to write head office, see if we can't get anything on Shadowgates. Buck, is there anything else about this map that you can determine?
He says, more specific query required. Because that's a pretty broad question. Oh, shoot.
You
What?
disappeared on us.
What the heck?
Who?
Hang on.
Oh, you're two invisible people.
And you completely changed the overlay somehow.
Yeah.
Oh
Whoa.
the
God!
heck?
We're everywhere.
Hang on. Did I? What the hell? Start video. That was weird. Oh, Jesus. Hang on a second.
Now there's something in front of your camera.
Yeah, hang on a second. It's being...
We need to modify your voice so it can actually do this like in-depth interview correctly.
Yeah.
Who are you ratting out?
What
Or
We need to modify your voice.
the heck is going on here?
it just looks like there's something in front of your camera.
Yep, it's... There we go.
There we go.
I'll white balance it later.
Now
I'll be
you're-
blue for the time being.
Just hold up a piece of paper.
No, I need to actually get into my hole. It's a different... Yeah. It's okay. I'll just be blue for the moment.
Dabble dee, dabble die.
Dabu dee, dabu dee.
Right, now that you're back, let me change the overlay because you and Clue switched places somehow.
Don't know what happened there. That was really weird.
Yes, I'm the DM.
Not anymore, you're not.
I have won DGD. I have usurped your power.
That's not how it works.
Hate to break it to you, Clues, but you're not the DM anymore.
Anymore. You had your moment and you blew it. I feel the power coursing through me.
Stop,
There
stop.
could be only one.
I know everything.
No kung fu.
So he says he does ask you to offer a more specific query. But every now and again, you see the eyes rotate back over to Dren, like turn red from him, and then come back to you.
I glare back.
Like it keeps on like looking at you, like it's like.
So when he mentioned Shadow Gates, is that because you guys asked directly about the lines, or did he just mention it?
No, I said, what can you tell me about this map?
Yeah, you didn't ask specifically about the lines,
true.
did you?
Yeah, I didn't. Buck, what are the lines on this map? What do they mean?
They look like ley lines.
And that's what he said.
What is a ley line? Someone explain that to me.
He says ley lines are. I'm not doing a Buck voice. He says ley lines are posited to be rivers of mystical energy that can connect two or more points.
Okay.
So yeah, so basically the way he describes the map, the lines on the map are that of being ley lines.
Okay, what happens when ley lines cross each other? Because that happens on this map a couple of times.
They're like magic rivers. It's just like more water in one place.
Okay, that's not how rivers work.
Kind of is.
No, when rivers cross, they either merge or they continue.
But in that one spot, there's more water.
Briefly. But like, look, these don't act like rivers. They pass through each other and continue on their way.
And he says, it's possible that at the intersections there are shadow gates.
Okay, and you know nothing else about a shadow gate other than the name.
He says that information is on a different book.
Okay. Okay, so on the map, Dungeon Master, there are certain crosses that don't have towns associated with them. Is that right?
Certain intersections?
Yeah, certain intersections that have
Yes.
no towns associated.
Yes.
Okay. Let me think here.
Can we have him cross-reference this map with all known maps to match?
Certainly. You can ask him to. Is there something that you're looking? Is there something specific that you're asking for, or you're asking him to find, or
just so that we know a possible location of where it is?
Well, we know where it is because there's places like Waterdeep in that marked on it.
Yeah. The map you guys have is
It's
Um,
very clearly like Waterdeep and Pinedale and Elboulder and
It's basically,
Okay.
your standard,
yeah.
Faerunian map.
Okay. I
And
didn't know if things were marked on it.
yeah, so yeah, it has like you can see where Pinedale is on the map. You can see where Elboulder is, where all
Okay.
the major settlements are. That part is clearly marked. And then, like you
Okay.
guys saw before, there was is this what I'm looking for? No. There's notations on the map that appeared that when you looked at them before, they appeared to be troop deployments, notes on troop deployments. That's if I remember correctly, you guys had seen some notes on the outskirts of the Chondalwood.
I
Which
have a question, but I'm not there. So
you can ask the question.
no, because I'm not
Ah.
because Corbin's not there to ask Buck.
Corbin has a
Corbin's
question.
not there.
Well, surely that'll be rectified at some point.
At some point. Yeah.
At some point, like next week, maybe after Unplugged.
Maybe sometime next year when we actually play again.
Yeah, Well, I have to move next week, so I won't be able to. Anyways, that was a bad joke. I'm sorry. Anyways, back to the game that we were playing here. Yeah, so yeah, are there additional queries that you would like to make of Buck?
Who can you tell who made the map?
Author unknown.
Oh, God damn it.
I can't remember.
Ask it its paper source.
I mean, you're
You're
standing
right
right there. You don't have to do the cough thing, Dren.
Not talking to you.
Okay, cool. That's real mature.
Wait a minute. Are Dren and Hugon fighting?
They are now.
You're not my real dad.
Because he shut. Oh, okay, no, because he shut Buck down. I understand now. She's having a tantrum. I get it now. I get it. I was like, wait a minute. Did I forget that these guys? I mean, I know that Hugon and Razzie are not on the best of terms.
Mm-hmm.
That there's some things happening there.
Yeah, Razzie's probably like up in the rafters, just glaring down at him. So now we're both-
And he can stay there and hate me and die happy. That's
For all
totally
I
fine
can.
with me.
Thunuk will ask that question then.
We'll ask where's the paper from?
Yeah.
He says, Buck says, please insert for analysis.
I was expecting to say on show.
I almost want to do because you speak with plants. Is paper not wood? Is wood not tree? Is tree not plant?
Yes, but
Can
it's
you
dead.
not speak to damn
No,
it,
because
why
it's
don't you
dead.
let me-
Give me another couple of levels and I'll be able to both speak with dead and speak with the planet.
But what if you cast like reanimate dead and then talk to the plant?
Exactly. You need to become
Talk to the
like
tree
a
that comes out of it.
Did we just break D&D?
We broke D&D.
The paper tells us everything.
Rebuke.
Exactly.
There are no more mysteries because paper's everywhere. Guys, don't say anything. The paper's listening.
Mhm.
But Buck
I'm
says,
totally
please insert sample for analysis.
What happens when I insert a sample, Buck? Will you eat this?
Buck will analyze.
Okay.
Take us.
Thunuk doesn't know that.
Yes, but Hugon is there. And so is Dren.
Dren's not being helpful.
Thunuk's about to feed this thing the entire bloody map unless he's stopped. Does he? No, he doesn't have the map. Hugon does.
Hugon has the map, yes.
Hugon has the map, yeah.
Okay. How much do you need to analyze it? Is that the right word?
Buck says, "I don't understand the question.
How
Please
much
insert
paper do
sample
I
for
have to
analysis.
feed you so that you can make sense of this?
Please insert sample for analysis."
Oh my Jesus Christ!
You don't want
Actually,
me
he would
guessing.
probably say, "Red Knight, help me."
Who is this Jesus fellow you keep talking about?
Mm-hmm. Okay. Hugon will give him like a piece, I guess.
Mm-hmm. Like how big of a piece?
Not a massive piece. A piece sufficient for the purposes at hand. Probably, an inch. How big is the piece of paper?
The map is probably it's probably like an 8.5 by 11, or more like, excuse me, more like an 11 by 17.
Okay.
So you're just gonna like tear off a corner and
Okay.
So you tear off the corner, the little portal opens up. It might be a different one. You hear something spin like in there, and then like another portal opens up. You stick it in, and you hear as it goes in, and then like it kind of like shakes it from your hand. Hear some gears turning. You hear that disc drive noise that children today don't know what that is anymore.
I know what it is.
No, but you know what I'm saying. It's the sound
Well,
of a.
I can't see your face to see if you're mocking me.
The sound. No. The sound of a 5.5. The size of a was it a 5 1/4 floppy?
Yeah.
And
You're going
then,
for the chunky one, aren't you? Not the 3.5. You're going right to the 5 1/4.
oh yeah, man.
Let's be real here. That was the only floppy.
Because 3.5s weren't floppy. They didn't move. And they and so you hear this noise, and then like.
No. My brain went somewhere real bad.
Mm-hmm. Then like these tiny shreds of paper are ejected out of the front of Buck, and it says analysis complete, and it starts projecting up on the wall like the various like chemical components that don't always seem to make a lot of sense. I'm not sure if there is a periodic table of elements in Faerun. So there might not be.
There is.
But it wouldn't be the same elements, It would be like there'd be like magical elements in there. How much shadow, how much Feywild is in this? What's the composition of of interplanar plasma?
What kind of bullshit is in this? How much?
And it but then it brings up, but then it projects a map up onto the screen, and it pulls it starts pulling like it looks like it's cross-referencing, and then it brings up the Chondalwood, and it brings up a species of tree, like a picture of a species of tree that looks like it came from a like a book that an arborist would do, like the illustrations.
It's, I know exactly.
And it basically identifies the Chondalwood. This paper was made from pulp from a tree that came from the Chondalwood.
Okay.
So all right, so we're going to pause there, and we're going to go back to the fire. The responsible fire.
Gotcha.
The responsible fire lit in an appropriate, leave no trace manner, following all the proper outdoor ethics. Lit by Corbin as he was having a conversation with the Fiedlersons.
Indeed.
Is there an anthropomorphic bear giving the thumbs up?
I do not want Smokey hunting me down.
No,
because Smokey in this universe is a dire cave bear with 4 druid levels.
So, I'm assuming that the firing is started by this point.
Oh yes, absolutely. Yes.
So, has Lauralissa's stance changed any? Is she still ready to bolt at the merest moment?
There has been some relaxing. She still has the general demeanor of an alley cat, in that she still could bolt. She still has that. There's a tenseness there, but it's not like it's not as immediate. It's no longer like DEFCON 4. You're more like in a DEFCON 3, DEFCON 2.5 situation right now.
Yeah. I'll sort of warm my hands on the fire, sort of Are you sure she's the only one that could teach you?
And Loralissa says, I know of no one else. I don't know. There very well could be, but she was the first one that we found that could help me.
There was a place I studied. So lots of people that could do stuff like that.
And she says,
Knew one quite well, actually.
where would one find such a place?
Well,
And would they accept someone like me?
be someone like you, a human?
No. Someone without stature. Without means.
And he just looks at her and he goes, what do you mean without stature?
Blaine,
We have no power in this world. We have no political power. We have no money. We don't matter in this society.
And he's going to look at her and he's going to go, huh. Been alive for 135 years. I've literally never met anybody who didn't. And he's going to pull up his sleeve a bit.
Mm-hmm.
And he's going to find his pulse.
Mm-hmm.
He's going to hold it out to her.
Mm-hmm.
Get her to...
And again, in the very alley cat way, it's very like, this is new. This is new stimulus. But she reaches out and she puts her fingers on your pulse.
I'll let her feel it for a couple of seconds.
Mm-hmm.
I'll very, very slowly move her hand to her pulse.
Mm-hmm.
Feel that?
And she nods.
That's the same thing. I'll pull out a little, dagger thingy.
Mm-hmm.
Nick the end of my finger.
Mm-hmm.
This happened to you when you get cut?
Many times.
And it's like,
Tastes like chicken.
we're the same thing. I had no means. I have no title. You need to think better of yourself, lass. You're a member of the Viscani tribe. You should be proud. I don't understand. You're as much worthy of anything as I am, as he is, as of the guy you work for. What? You shouldn't question yourself like that.
And she says, we've been nothing but property for as long as I can remember.
Yeah.
And even when we escaped, it seems that we've either been nothing but property or non-entities. So is it possible to just go and be what you want and not what you have to be?
Yes. You call yourself a non-entity. You have a name.
She says, indeed.
I look to Lorelissa. You have a name?
She says, yes.
Then you're entities. You're people. You matter. You're not under... I can't imagine what has happened to you. Feel this way about yourselves. But what makes you matter is the decisions that you make. Choices. How you treat other people. How you act around folk. How you treat people that can't help you. That's what makes you matter in a world. Not anything else. I'm not going to sit here and pretend that everything's easy. Everything requires work. Hell, members of the Viscani should know that. Just staying alive requires work for you guys. But all you got to do is choose.
And as you're saying this, that little fairy comes back up on Quohan's shoulder and she says, see, told you.
And what's your
I've been
name?
telling you this. See, someone else is saying it too. It's not just me.
And what's your name?
Why did I name it? And
God damn it.
And no, she says, the name she gives is basically like a series of like bells
and whistles.
Bells and whistles. It's very whimsical. It's actually very pleasing. Like a wind chime blowing on a gentle breeze on a warm summer's day.
All right, whistles. What have you been telling them?
Just that they can go they don't have to stay with these awful people. That they can go do other things. See, you're saying, oh, I'm your friend. That's why I'm saying it. You're only saying that because you like me. This guy doesn't even know you, and he's saying the same thing.
Whistles has a point.
And Quohan says, she usually does.
Does he pull the brother like, haha?
No, he's not like that because you can see he feels a little, he's got like a little abashed look as well.
And Corbin's going to kind of just, at this point, be like, look, I didn't come here to play counselor to you.
Mm-hmm.
But I've been there. Felt worthless. And I chose my own path. And it's led me here.
And with that, Whistles says to them, guys, we should probably get back. They're going to be looking for you. And Quohan says, my friend is right. If we wander away for too long, they tend to wonder where we've been. But can we meet again tonight after dark when it's safe?
Already dark.
I guess.
Probably best to let the heat die down for a while if they're that worried about you stepping away.
No, they know where we are now. They know that we come out to spar. But if we wander for too long, sometimes they'll send someone out looking for us just to see where we are. And it probably would not be best for us to, given given that it seems like our groups are at opposing goals.
Why don't you
But
come by the
perhaps-
Silver Harrier? Go
I
drink.
think we can do that. It'll have to be later tonight, but
First round's on me.
excellent.
And he'll look to Loreless at this.
Mm-hmm.
Time will come soon, lad. You're going to have a choice to make.
Mm-hmm.
Right thing, do the wrong thing.
Mm-hmm.
One of them will let you be your own person. And the other one will let you continue in bondage. And it's quite clear that's not him flirting with her, by the way.
Mm-hmm.
Just to be 100%.
No, you'll know when Corbin's flirting.
Yeah. He turns it on.
Because he's got two speeds.
Listen.
Sleep and panty drop.
Wow.
And he's just going to be like, and it's going to be up to you to make the choice. No one can make the choice for you.
And she says, oh, I'm sorry, go ahead.
And he'll stand up and he'll be like, hopefully I'll see you both tonight.
And they both stand up, and there's like a little bit of a stretch from having sat, one of those, and they say, we will do our best to come by later this evening.
And he'll pause and he'll say, as he's like putting the fire out.
Mm-hmm. Because that's the responsible thing to do, Dren.
He'll say, if you see
Details.
if you see any
Details? Is that really how we're gonna is that where we're going with that?
Yep.
Okay.
if you see any of my teammates tonight, which you likely will if you're a Harrier, maybe don't make Samson.
Understood.
And Corbin will walk off and stealth into the tree line.
Okay. And we go back to Dren's shop, and for some reason, I would just have this vision that in the brief time that we were away, that Buck would be like running around the shop, being chased by Dren. Things are on fire, and for some reason, I just think like chaos would be breaking out.
Not if Hugon's still there.
I feel like Buck is keeping Hugon between him and Clues.
Yeah. Well, I see the scene of like Bucks keeps on like circling around to stay. Keep Hugon kind of in between. Like Clue or Dren keeps on trying to like dive in and everything like that. And Thonik just what? Stop fighting! Stop.
It hurts my gentle spirit.
Or eventually, you may actually consider like maybe this is just all one big game. Why am I not being invited to play the game?
Need to get you a pet or something.
Has a whole bird hospital.
That's true. He does have the bird hospice facility.
So, but as this again, if this scene happens, it would just be wonderful if that happens. But as you do that, Corbin, or not Corbin, Hugon, you're still holding the map?
Yeah.
Excuse me. As you're doing that, Thonik, you hear a tapping at the window. And there is one of the largest ravens you've ever seen pecking at the window.
Okay, then.
Even for Linux standards?
It's one of the larger
still a
ones.
raven.
Yeah, I mean it's not a Linux-sized raven.
Yeah.
But of the ones that you've seen, this would definitely be categorized on the larger side of things.
Thunic will open the window and say, hello.
And as soon as you do, it comes flapping in, zooms directly for Hugon, grabs the map out of his hand, like just grabs it, circles back around, is out the window and flies. You can see it goes up to the roof to up to the roof of the of where you have your bird hospital, your little animal hospital.
I tell Raza to go chase it.
And Rozzy,
I feel you could have. I feel the moment that it flew in, you could have closed the window.
Meh.
Possibly,
That's
but
probably still shooting
would he have
glass.
thought of that? Probably because he's like, clearly this bird wants to come and talk to me.
That's valid.
and
True.
Rozzy is right out the window after, zoom, little smoke trail behind him, right out the window. And follows the crow or the raven up on top of the silvered harrier.
Buck. Buck.
And Buck, like, Buck keeps trying to turn to you, but every time he turns to you, like, Dren tries to sneak up on him. So and he's trying to look at you, but he keeps on having to look back to make sure he knows where she is at all times. She's chasing him with a screwdriver or
Like,
something.
you can talk. You
This
don't
is
have to look at
perfect.
me when you talk. It's okay.
Yes.
You remember what that map looks like?
He says, yes.
Can you copy it?
The map has been copied and scanned into memory.
Can you produce a copy of the map for us physically?
He is able to project the map up on the wall,
Good enough. We don't need the map.
which is kind of a neat feat because the map is staying pretty solid no matter where he goes. Though the map itself is able to keep like the right proportions. Like if you like move a projector, how it causes that weird like kerning. It like this. He's got like kind of like an auto adjust feature as he goes.
Cool.
Yeah.
Well, good.
Or you could just go get the mat from Raven on top of the roof.
Well, I'm just checking to see if we have a
Oh,
recourse
okay,
if-
right,
if
yeah,
the
Just
map-
in case.
just in case.
When you were like, "Oh, we don't need the map," I thought you were like,
No.
"Well, I'm saying no to that plot hook."
Fuck that.
I want that map.
Who wants the original? We got this.
Thunuk,
Yes.
think you can kill that raven from here?
Well, it's on
Jesus.
top of the house. I have
Yeah,
to
Why
go
you got-
would you
upstairs.
ask the duck to do that?
You've got the magic, man.
Well, he's on top of the building. Like, I have to go there.
You can't. Okay, fine. Dren, can you kill the raven from here?
He's at my hospital.
Did you think you knew how many shits that I give that he's at your hospital? Would you like to know how many?
He's halfway at the door. I've got to go. He's trying to get my attention. Somebody, he needs help. They need help up there.
And by halfway out the door, we mean.
Literally, he's only made it halfway out the door. When-
Everything he's saying is sort of muffled because his body's in the way.
So you're able to, pop out the door.
Yeah.
Scurry up with pretty decent agility for a creature of your size. Get up to the top of the hospital, and here now the raven is playing keep away with Rozzy. Like, it's sitting there like, doing its little claw thing, and Rozzy's like trying to like jump in it, and it just kind of hops over to one side, and you're not sure. Maybe Rozzy thinks this is a game. This is kind of like when you have like two dogs that like are at the same toy, and they kind of like, and the raven kind of thinks it's a game, like jumping around, like trailing the map, and Rozzy keeps on like coming
I
in for the
picture him
lips.
like in full like gargoyle type looks, like, yeah, I'm gonna get you.
Yeah. And when you get up there, what do you do? So what do you do when you get up there? Actually, we'll do this.
Flynn is basically going to say, "What's wrong? What happened? There are easier ways of getting my attention. Is everything okay?"
And yeah.
Oh, that's cool.
This is kind of where I took my thing
Yeah.
off of Rozzy. So this is kind of essentially what he would look like.
It's the Rozzy statue.
Yeah.
And so the raven flies up and perches on top of your head,
Mhm.
and dangles the map in front of your face. And when you do that, it's dark out, and the moon has just started to come up, and where the moon hits the backside of the map,
Like a big pizza pie.
that's amore.
Oh,
What is an eel doing floating in the air?
As he does that, you can see not very well because it's like right here, like right in front of your face, but you
Mhm.
can see there's like some blue glowing runes that are now on the map that were not there before. They're really out of focus because they're right directly in front of your eyes. So you really can't, but you can see that there's this glowing blue runic looking things on the map that were not there prior.
Gotcha. At first, Thunuk will be like, "Ooh, wow, pretty," but at the same time, he's still like, "Is everything okay?" And he takes the map down. And can Thunuk read what is written on there?
Well, when you take it back down, if it doesn't have the moon shining on the back of it, the runes disappear.
Oh, okay.
So you have to actually hold it up to. But when you do that, you can see the markings on there, and do a what would a good memory roll be? That would be like, I guess, insight. That could be a good remembery roll.
Well, I'm trying to remember what.
It would be.
Don't you just hold it up to the light again?
No, it's not so much remembering what the runes were. It's the reference for what they are.
Well, is it
cartography check? So I guess maybe it's nature, survival.
Well, in past because you're our cartographer, right?
Yes.
How have we done your cartography role? Was it with nature, with survival, with?
It was survival, interchangeable with nature, actually, and I've been using survival because for some reason survival is wisdom and nature is intelligence, and Thunuk is dumb as a brick.
So I figure if it's remembering something about a map, it would probably be contiguous with your
cartography,
right?
Yeah, I'd say where you have the advantage would make sense.
Based upon how I think what we determined is how Thunuk learned to get around. It's a survival thing.
Yeah. Okay.
So survival check. Okay.
23.
Dang, yo.
You see the ones that are by the ones that are near. I almost said the Drowning Courtier, and you're not near the Drowning Courtier. The ones that are actually near Pinedale. You remember that there's very similar, if not the same, markings on the strange doorway in your guy's office.
Oh.
And you recognize that.
And we figured out what those were. We had figured out what those were before.
Yeah.
I think we did, but I have no remembrance of what they are.
Neither do I. I have no recollection as a player.
They were teleportation runes of some kind.
Oh, shit.
Yes. And you can
Wait,
see
there's a fucking shadow gate in our office?
Okay. This is problematic on a
Well, that's going to cease to exist as soon as I find out.
But yeah, they match up. The runes there on the map look very similar to the ones that you saw on the gate in your office. And so, hey folks, it's like 5:37 Eastern Standard Time, not Eastern Daylight Time,
and it's dark outside.
Oh,
it is.
Actually, it's like 3:30 here. It's pretty bright.
Eat shit.
We don't care about you.
Wow.
2:30 where I am, so
So on that note, we are going to take the briefest of breaks. We'll be back in just a couple minutes with the second half of our show.
Well, we're gonna if OBS starts responding.
There's that.
No, we're still streaming. I just can't. Yeah. Like, I'm pushing the button and nothing is happening.
So we'll figure something out in the meantime. But we will see you guys in just a couple of minutes.
There we go. We're good. Come on back now.
Come on back. We back?
We's back.
We back.
Hi.
Everybody back.
Hello.
We back. I'm back. Alrighty. So we had for the folks that are tuning in through the podcast, we had just feel like I just made a discovery of possibly some import, that the map actually had some runes on there that would that matched up on the doorway, on the in the strange doorway that was situated in the middle of the in the middle of the T-Mex office, in the bowels of the Silvered Harrier. So that is where we had left things. We had Hugon and Dren, or Dren is not talking to Hugon because he ruined her fun.
He's a son of a bitch.
Corbin.
Well then.
Not a son of a bitch. Son of a bitch.
Son of a bitch. And,
Sumner.
and Corbin, maybe set some people on a different path. Maybe made friends. Maybe just an acquaintance. They might be on the Last Stone's Day card list. Maybe not. It's sort of in that, gray area yet. Maybe they'll be invited to Knives Grave dinner. You never know. You never know.
Let's not get ahead of ourselves.
That's not what that was about. That was about people getting to be their own person.
Yeah,
Right,
it's
course.
it's an idea that germinates. You meet someone like, would I invite them to Thanksgiving? No, I would not. Or maybe.
I mean, given
American
that
or Canadian Thanksgiving?
Oh, the real one.
So Canadian.
Oh.
Does that come with or without genocide?
I'm not even going to touch that.
Anywho.
Thonuk is actually going to interact with the bird a bit more, because he's going to thank you for giving me back the map and showing this to me, but he could have just said this. And he's using speech of beast and leaf as he's doing that.
And the crow just kind of calls at you and is like, and kind of like gestures at the map, kind of like, I did.
Like, fuck off.
Okay, well,
that is exactly what I did.
But you're okay though, so because everything's fine, you're okay.
And he caws an affirmative, like like there's a flapping of the wings, like stretching of the feets. The flyers work, the feeders work. He gives you like a little beaker. He gives you a little pecker works.
Phrasing.
Yep, and he does that, and then he flies away off into the dark. And Razi now looks a little lonely.
Razi looks that way a lot.
Razi.
Yeah, Razi has like permanent sad eyes, much like the dog behind Clues right now.
It was so bad last night. I just got back home. Oh, you abandoned me and left me forever.
I thought you were gone forever. Exactly.
Yeah, Mom.
You understand me. You get me. So Razi looks a little lonely now. His friend left. He thought it was, it was a romping good time, the chase around the roof.
He thought it was true love.
He was.
It never.
But like that platonic kind of love, not like not like a a shagging kind of love, more like a hey,
he's my best buddy.
You get me.
Not like they were gonna buck.
No, they couldn't buck. There was a.
Anyway.
Anywho.
Thonic is going to run back downstairs. He's probably going to pass Hugon on the way there, and because I imagine everyone is very concerned about this map.
No, well, I mean, like, yeah, but
he's expecting. His assumption is everyone was behind him, and no one showed up. So as he's running downstairs, because that's just the way he thinks, is he's going to run into someone really soon, and every time he gets like, huh?
It should be Corbin who has no idea what's been going
on. Yeah, that could work. Yeah, right as Corbin is like, coming up the alley, getting close to the
timing is right. it's just going to be like a stream of consciousness thing. He runs into Corbin. It's like, I went to the map of the bird and the moon, and we were looking at the thing, and the bird took the map, and Rozzy, come flying. Rozzy's very sad. We should give Rozzy hugs. But so the map and the door and the moon and the light and yeah.
Click. Help me.
It's very cool.
Help me.
Big bada boom.
Then he says, "You should look too," and he runs upstairs again, assuming that you're right behind him.
As he turns to run, I'll be saying, "It's something to do with the moon."
Yes, it's very cool. You can look
which we can see from down here.
Oh yeah. Okay, here, look. So here's the map, yeah, and he's like, you're down here.
Just
like, should I pick you up or should I pick the map up?
Just
okay.
I'll hold up. I'll get the map, and I'll be like,
"Isn't it cool? It glows in the moon."
What? In case you missed it, bud.
Yeah.
I've been gone for about 2 hours. You want to catch me up on things?
Out of character. Corbin doesn't know that we have the map, or did know.
I know you have the map. I didn't know anything about shadow gates or any of that nonsense.
Oh, okay.
Or Dren trying to take Buck apart.
Like way back.
Or
like in the beginning.
He doesn't know anything about Dren trying to take Buck apart either.
So
or Hugon's dad voice.
Oh, Hugon's dad voice. So we started figuring. We were trying to figure out what this map was all about, right? So these lines and they connect these towns and these cities, and I thought they were ley lines, and I had to explain what ley lines were to Hugon didn't know what a ley line was. I thought that was very strange, but I told them they were like
He's
rivers,
a
but not like rivers.
Folk. Why would he know?
Huh?
Not a magical. Why would he know?
Doesn't everyone know?
Do you know how to use a halberd?
Pointy end goes in the person.
No. Do you know how to actually wield one and make it effective?
You hold it, and pointy end goes in person.
Is that how Hugon uses it?
Yes. I mean,
it's not, is it?
Oh, come on! You're gonna take away from Thuduk that he finally knew something that no one else knew, or that Hugon didn't know.
No. I'm not taking away from the fact that Hugon didn't know it. It's more the fact that Hugon had no reason to know it. Anyway, ley lines, right?
Yeah. So we were looking at this, and
intersecting fonts of magical power, right?
Yes, and we were like, okay, so we know this much about the map, but we don't. We wanted to ask Buck about it, and Buck wasn't there, and then we realized,
where was Buck?
Buck went with Drenmai back to her
the
shop.
The moment that he says Buck went to Drenmai, I'm going to start for the shop.
So if you come into the shop,
and then the entire time as he's running, he's still
yeah.
So if we come into the shop, Hugon and Dren, what do we see?
Hugon has rolled Buck out of the shop at this point, I imagine. He's not going to leave Buck here.
Oh, so maybe you come up on us with Buck and
I'm just kind of pushing him with my boot every couple of steps.
He's got feet.
Well, now he's rolling. He's in defense mode.
But with Dren not around, he could just on defense mode.
Well, right, but Dren keeps trying to take him apart.
I'm gonna look over and I'll be like, "Why are you kicking Buck?"
It's a long story.
Buck, do you have feet?
Buck is hurtling at the moment, so that Dren can't get into his innards and take him apart.
At this point, you hear Thunuk hit the part where he's like, "Oh, and Hugon killed him with magic words," but he hasn't stopped recounting the entire evening.
Okay, so I'm getting ley lines and Dren taking apart the thing,
Mm-hmm.
and anything actually useful?
So the map has these things called shadow gates, which apparently Buck knows something about, but doesn't have the right information.
Given that there is a school of monk study that is the way of the shadow, would I know anything about the shadow gates?
Let us do a history check.
That sounds like a big nope.
Oh, I can't remember what my history stat is.
Oh, probably
Um,
something ridiculously high.
no. It is high because I have a fairly ridiculous set of stats, but not through anything else. 16?
16. You have heard of shadow gates.
Mm-hmm.
You heard rumors of one at the monastery, but never saw one, because that was like only there was, there's always like levels where only certain people are allowed to go once you've attained a certain monk level, right? Like a certain level of learning, enlightenment of whatever. But you
you're
heard
not going to blab about it.
No, yeah, it's one of those things, but it's like, apprentices, they all gossip, they all talk. It's kind of like it was a little bit more than the rumor that there was a pool on the roof,
but the idea, but the thing is that the basics is it's like a Stargate.
Yes.
Okay. So I will. Have I been filled on the fact that there's one in our basement yet?
Thunuk is still recounting. He hasn't gotten to that part yet.
And Hugon doesn't know that it's there. So
you guys have seen this thing in the basement,
right? But Hugon has never seen the runes, and he was,
yes, I pointed them out to him.
Yeah, there's runes that are carved into the actual gate. So, but he
hasn't seen the ones on the map though.
I haven't made the connection.
Okay.
Yes.
So I'm going to be looking at the runes on the map and be like, I'm going to look at them both and go, shadow gates.
Yeah.
Ley lines.
Again, yes.
Magic runes on a map.
Oh yeah, and there's a door in the basement that has those.
Has anybody considered asking our resident magic user about these?
She's being a bitch.
At which point I will walk straight past him towards the shop.
I hate it when mom and dad fight, but I love it.
And I'll knock on the door. Actually, it'll be more like knock on the door frame, because the door's probably open.
The door's probably open because Thunuk went through it, and Trent does not have like one of those automatic door closer bits.
And the hinges probably aren't sitting quite true the way that they just were.
No.
And Corbin, that might just bother you a little bit that they're not.
My woodworking might have to, yeah.
You like, I imagine dwarves get like this little itch.
Well, it depends on the dwarf.
It depends on it, but I imagine there's still this at a genetic level when there's like
some people have problems with stone crafting, some with like smithing going wrong, but for me it would be like bad wood crafting, I think.
Yeah, and when you see a door that just isn't hung properly, it's kind of like this, like right at the base of your skull, like you have an itch you can't quite get to, and it's like.
But right now there's other things on my mind.
But yes.
So I'll knock on the door frame. Then you home?
You might see like the tuft of hair and ear tips like behind the front little like table area.
Dren,
Climb up on my
use
stool.
your voice.
Mad.
Can I trouble you for a minute?
Yeah. Where's asshole? Oh, out there. Okay.
And Hugon waves and then turns it into a middle finger.
I'll be like, I'm right here. Oh, that guy.
No.
Oh, right.
That one.
So
She's gonna whisper to Rozzy real quick. Rozzy.
he'll
Sneakers off.
walk in and close the door as best he can behind him.
You hear it
And I-
open and close again real quick as Rozzy goes out.
Okay.
And when you close it, it like definitely doesn't sit right. It like you have to
No. Like I know that, but the point is
Yeah.
to have at least the semblance of privacy, right?
you have to kind of like lift it a little bit to kind of just get to sit in the frame.
And he'll walk over and he'll sort of like sit on the stool next to Dren, right? And like lay the map out in front of her. Right. I want your professional opinion. We've
It's like
got.
the same as it was before.
Hang on. No, he's literally.
She's
Gonna,
so annoyed.
he's literally
You're
gonna.
annoyed.
He's literally gonna look at her and go, "What did I do to piss you off right now?"
Just wanted to.
No. What
Not
did
you.
I do to piss you off?
Oh, not you.
Then
Just-
stop acting like I pissed you off. Besides, I'll buy you a donut later.
Ooh, okay.
There are two ways to make Drenmai happy: fire, donut.
Sugar. Let's be
Sugar.
honest.
Wait a minute. Sugar and fire.
Oh,
Exactly.
Let's not do
I have a
this.
plan.
Don't,
Um, Right. Anyway.
This is a dark path,
Anyway.
and
I'll slide the map over, but like, look, you're our resident magical expert around here, right?
Yeah.
We've got a map with intersecting ley lines. These things called shadow gates. There are magical runes in this map that only appear when they're held up to moonlight. Like this is some kind of weird story about hobbits or something.
We don't have any hobbits around here in a while.
But the point, you're our expert here, right? What do you know about it? Since the other two didn't think to ask you, what do you know?
After you'd mentioned the moon bit, because I wasn't out there, I want to pick up the map and go take it and look at like I'm through the window, just seeing
Mhm.
like moon like hitting.
Can we
it.
do that moment in the movie like you're holding up the thing and I'm stood behind you? Because I'm slightly taller than you, so I'm like looking over your shoulder.
I'm 3'2". How tall were you?
You're what? You're 3'2". I'm like 3'8", 3'9". So I can like
Okay,
look
so
over
you're-
your. Actually, I'm about 4 foot flat, to be honest. Once I
You're
got
very
once I
tall.
got my boots on. So I can like
Oh, no.
no, I thought gnomes are shorter than that.
said the 10-foot tall Firbolg.
He thinks everything is shorter than it really is.
shrug.
Yeah.
But the point, I want to have that moment of like I'm looking over her shoulder at the map as well.
Okay. Yeah, so I just want to kind of hold it up and like, oh, it starts glowing.
It does. It is. It is
And, like,
shiny.
I'm gonna reach over and like point at stuff. We're like, there's here, and these ley lines meet, and I think this is Pinedale, and this looks like Waterdeep down here, and they're definitely
I do-
connected.
Yeah. Can I just do like a general Arcana check on it to see if
You-
it'll give me
You could absolutely do
Okay.
an Arcana check on that.
Arcana bonus? Okay. 15?
Can I give her advantage
you
or
you ab-
bardic inspiration?
you absolutely can.
Right. So you get to add a d6 to that.
So how would you add? Is it just your? Is
Well,
it
I
just your
figure because
very
I'm like
present-
pointing out
I see
stuff on the map, and sure, my presence behind her in a manly fashion, I guess. In in a scene reminiscent of Demi Moore and Patrick Swayze.
Okay.
But instead of pottery, it's a map and a window. In fact, we're probably doing this in front of the window, and like Thunuk and Hugon are looking are on the other side of the window going, "The fuck are they doing?"
Hugo's probably do that. Thunuk is still relaying the entire evening story. He's
But through the window.
You can see his face come into the window
Like
this
the
way.
it fogs the window as he's breathing.
No, seriously though.
Like some
Like,
sort of giant dog.
I think the inspiration is very much like the conversation they had earlier, calming her down and like
focusing,
like showing her that I respect
Focused
her
friend.
opinion and like yeah, sure. There's a little bit of that whole weird thing of short people, but like it's like the very trying to keep her focused kind of thing.
Okay, so what is that? So again, for the mechanics, what does that do? That gives her
it basically it allows her to roll a d6 and add the score to any roll of a skill check.
Well, that's what this would be. An Arcana check would be a skill
attack
check.
roll or saving throw.
Okay, so you can add a
I got
d6.
total 20.
Total 20. Dirty 20.
Dirty 20.
All right. Little clues in the dirty 20s.
Exactly.
So what kind of information would you be looking to glean from this entirely non-erotic moment?
So, we're focusing on like the ley lines and everything. So I kind of want to get a sense of either like magical purpose, or if there is a pattern, or if there's just some kind of just something drawn off my magical senses of those. Basically, just what can I get from that?
So you can, I mean, see, as was, kind of explained in a way, is that this, looks to be some kind of interstate highway map connecting specific points. But, and with all these runes though, what you're picking up on is that so you're looking for like patterns with the runes, right? With like how they're laid out and everything.
Now that the runes are there, like, does it mean anything with the lines? Or
you can see that there's commonality to regions, almost like an area code, where you can see like within the Chondalwood, there's some common runes.
We need a DRD.
Yeah. So you've picked up on that, but the one thing that you notice you do notice something that's different about the one in Pinedale, in that one appears to have an additional rune in it that none of the others do, and your mystical senses would tell you that there's something about that extra rune that says that if it wasn't present, the doorway would not work.
Okay, just to double check sake, I want to cast comprehend languages to see if any of these are words.
Okay, yeah, you can do that.
Magical bullshit on the map. Show me words.
Show me where it's at. They appear to be town and city names, but they're very they're not names that you recognize. I'm trying to think. No, I don't think you'd recognize any of the names on the map itself, but they do appear to be like city and town names, just based on the naming convention.
When she casts comprehend, hang on a minute. When she casts comprehend languages,
Mm-hmm.
I'm gonna cast it too.
Mm.
Well, I was gonna say I need. I'm like doing this behind me, like
Yeah,
pencil, paper,
and
pencil,
I
paper.
pass it over
Mm-hmm.
So I'm gonna start,
after like getting smacked in the nose a couple of times.
Yeah,
Like the finger goes up the nose. Like that. No. This...
Not
like
the hole I'd
beard,
intended.
beard, hair.
Gross.
So I'm gonna start like super rough sketch of what like the other stuff is, but then writing down more detail of all of the other ones.
Okay, so you're annotating the map now.
Yeah, and it looks terrible.
I don't suppose one of these names would be Menzo Baranson, would it?
Jeez.
No, that's the Underdark, correct?
Mhm.
Yeah.
Yeah.
No.
But if there are city names that we don't know what they are, the first logical step is there's a city there that we don't know about. And the only place that's going to be is down there. And being a dwarf, I know the Underdark exists.
Yeah, but none of them are. You can see elsewhere on the map, there appear to be some that look to be of
Drow nature.
Of Drow, or we'll say of Underdark origins. There might be some Durgar
Right.
names in there.
Okay.
But you can see a lot of them appear to be more elven in nature, not Drow in nature. So when you look at that,
well, given that I can speak Elven anyway.
Well, yeah. So the runes are basically translating into like the runes are like a very, very old form of Elvish.
Oh, okay. It's like archaic Elvish.
Yeah. Hang on, I'm looking for. That's not what I'm looking for. So you
is this the same archaic Elvish we saw down in the Meanlock tunnel?
It is.
Ooh.
It is. And I believe one of the cities, hang on, I'm looking up the actual name of the city. Give me 1 second here. I'm going to find the name. I have it written down in one of the many notes somewhere buried. And one of the Shadowgate names is, you do recognize this one, Ruxianjian, if I'm pronouncing that right, which is legendary elven city that was lost to the ravages of time and forgotten and mentioned only in myth and legend. It's always been rumored. There's always been like ill-fated treasure hunters that have come to the Chondalwood looking for this legendary hidden elven city of
this city's in the Chondalwood?
It's always been rumored to be there, but it's never been found. It's like
It's like Angkor Wat used to be.
Yeah, like an Atlantis situation where it's always been rumored it was there. There are
I legitimately thought you said Atlanta just then.
No, Atlanta. No one's ever seen it for real. No, it's one of those things where there are fables that mention it, but it's never been proven to actually have existed. And so there's always been some scholarly debate as to whether or not this city ever really did exist. Was it kind of like Camelot, where Camelot never actually existed?
Camelot.
So Camelot.
It's
only a model.
Can you spell the name of that city for me?
I can. And in fact, I will. You can spell the city using the following letters: RUCIEN XAN.
So that's why I was looking at Discord. Rozzy did go outside and light Hugon's pants on fire.
No, he didn't.
Yes, he did. So yeah,
no, I disallow that from occurring.
Well, it's one of those things that while you're standing out there, you suddenly feel a little hot in the pants.
Cool. Well, you realize that now if I catch Rozzy, I'm going to tear his head off.
Good luck.
That's going to happen.
Gotta catch him first.
If I ever catch Rozzy.
All right, so
but in actuality,
guess who's making
it's more of a smolder, really. It's not like
I
in
was
Fuego.
going to say when we got back to me that Hugum would have departed the area
Huh.
to go do other things with Buck.
What?
Oh,
Well,
now, okay.
listen, the guy finds a robot with a hole in it, and it just decides to.
Oh my Christ!
If anybody asks, you're my debugger.
He ran the defragger.
So I'm gonna be looking over Baron's shoulder and be like, "They mean anything to you?" Lucy and
DM, can I do a
Zan.
history check?
You can do a history check. It's Dungeons and Dragons.
Let's see if I know anything. Hey, I'm not bad. I don't. That's a 6 in total.
And no.
It might be one of those things that you know, just at the moment you do not. There's shiny things in front
Okay.
of you right now.
That right
I
there.
probably have like a crinkled up look on my face, and I'm thinking about the mean locks and
That right there is an ancient elven city. Or reported ancient elven. Was once thought to be beside the Chondalwood. It was the site of the throne of Queen Kalashandra. I'm making this.
Yep.
Kalashandra.
But you know what? No, here's the thing. There probably is a story.
No. This is what I'm saying. Is I was like, I'm making this up. Corbin isn't.
Yeah.
Right. This is actually the story.
Mm-hmm.
Said to have the largest treasure trove of the Elven Kingdom. Many huge tracts of land. There have
That
been
one stayed up.
there's been a lot of treasure hunters come and go. Well, mainly come to the
You just gave
Chondalwood.
Dren a girly gnomish boner.
Oh,
You're
I knew
fully
exactly what I was saying. Largest treasure trove of the Elven Kingdoms. Many treasure hunters have come to the Chondalwood, searching for their location. None of them have back.
Never to be seen again.
Though, if they were to have found it, they probably wouldn't come back. They would probably
That's
stay
true.
there and be like, "Oh, I've got lots of money."
Why the fuck would I leave?
There's something familiar about this writing. Does this look like the stuff from the Mean Locks to you?
exactly what I was just thinking.
Hmm.
Can I?
Is that the door?
Hang on. Just at that moment where, like, you just, as you start to knock, like, Coleman just looks at Dren's like, brilliant. And then, like, that moment of...
He's tapping on the window. He's like, this is the part that I just remember. This part's important. This part's important.
And
But rather than him come into the...
have this moment of, like, reaching over and, like, putting my hand on Dren's arm and lowering the map to look at him.
Yeah. So you guys are like looking at this map the whole time, and then when you look, there's just this huge fearball face, like right there in the window, smiling.
Start to picture like just that center portion, kind of
Yeah.
this shape. It was a little bit dimmer on the glowing.
Yeah.
Just have this fearbulb outline in the map.
But this part right here, where his face is all fogged up.
Yeah.
Like
He's been breathing on the window.
You see his eyes clearly, and everything down here is like haze.
Like Wilson.
This is the important part. This is the important part. And there's a door. And door.
Door right there.
Door.
At which point, I'll clock that as well. And be like, the runes in the office.
That's it.
I
All
think
right,
with that,
And I want to have this...
I'm gonna-
I want to have this very Doctor Who moment, right? Where I just kind of like, because I've already got my hand on Dren's arm.
Mm-hmm.
I kind of just want to grab her hand and run for the office.
Okay, so
I
we're
was
gonna
say, I'm gonna start trailing that
we're gonna swish pan over to Hugon and Buck, to the adventures of Hugon and Buck.
That's a buddy
is this
comedy
not-
waiting to happen.
It is
Yeah.
Just
a cop
remember,
and his
TOS.
robot buddy and his
We can
robot
only air-
sidekick.
We can only
So-
air certain things, so
So Hugon,
Yes.
tell me, where did you wander off to
Well,
with the Buck?
primarily, I would like to store him somewhere, probably the office.
Mm-hmm.
Now, I don't know what their plan is, so I'd probably just store him to the basement.
So you kind of like lead him away, like kind of
Yeah.
like push him down.
Push him down the stairs. Thunk, 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 thunk. And then Hugon is going to go to his room and lock the door and pull out a small.
Oh, thank God! Small.
Well, it's not really small. It's about the size of a very large, like a large tome, like maybe.
Up until tome, it was perfect. It was
probably
All in 8th grade.
It's not really a large tome, it's a thick tome, right?
and
I'm sorry.
Would you call it girthy?
nor would I call it turgid.
Oh, so you're flaccid.
Flaccid tome. The dimensions of it, like it's squarish shaped in its dimensions, but it's way too thin. It's wrapped in butcher's paper.
I don't know if that helps.
And he pockets this item, and then he goes to church. Or whatever passes for a church.
Yeah. Well, there's the local kind of like multi-denominational church.
Is the priest available?
Yes, the priest is available.
Okay. I need Hugon would, make his obeisance to Kelmvor and Red Knight as he enters, like he always does, and he proceeds to the office of the priest. Check to see if he's in, and I trust that he's around.
Yes.
He'll knock on the door.
Excuse me. No, the priest, welcomes you in and offers you a seat.
He goes, "Can you identify something for me? I need to figure out if something's cursed or not."
Certainly, my son.
Well, I mean, I can pay you if that's required.
Well, your normal tithing is fine. You don't have to do more than that.
And he'll set it on the desk, and he's like, "It's very important that you don't open that, but I need you to tell me whether or not it's cursed or if it has magic on it or anything."
I'm sorry, folks at home that are listening and watching at home. I'm not going to repeat what Clues just messaged to the group. At any rate,
But I can't see, by the way. I need you
now
to. It's very important that I can't see what just happened.
So the so the priest looks a little confused, and he says, "Is it okay that I touch it?"
If you absolutely have to, I try not to touch this thing. I mean, obviously, I think it's cursed, which is why I'm in your room asking you to check to see if it's cursed. this, it's like a magnet which attracts problems. I feel like okay, well, I don't know if you know this. There's 2 blackguards in your city, so that happened, and this is starting to feel similar to other experiences I've had, and I'm trying to figure out if this is attracting them. So if you have to touch it, I mean, wash your hands afterward.
I understand. With something like this, would you be able to leave it with me?
No, absolutely not. You can either do it now, or we can come back when you have more time. But this is not leaving my sight.
No, I understand. I think that I think we might want to make an appointment for this. For if you're saying that it could potentially be what you cursed as you say it is, we should take the appropriate time and precautions. I don't think I could do that. I think we should make an appointment to do that.
Okay. How long will that take? You need to do you know what a blackguard is?
No,
Okay. Do you know what a paladin is?
Of course.
Okay. Blackguards are the opposite of paladins. Okay.
Oh,
and you have 2 in your city.
Oh dear.
Yes. Okay. And now you understand the need for alacrity here. So maybe you should hurry the fuck up.
And he cringes a little bit that you just cursed at a priest.
Well, Hugon is visibly nervous. And,
he says
a little on the the agitated side.
He says, why don't we make plans? If you come back, give me a couple of hours to assemble the necessary parts of the ritual, and we will come back to that.
Okay, well, I'm taking this with me.
No, that is fine.
I can't leave it here.
Okay, we will deal with that.
All right. But tonight.
Yes, tonight. Come back in 2 hours' time.
2 hours. Okay.
Right.
Good. Because again, I don't think that you're on the same level of concern here, and I just want to make it very clear to you that very bad people just tried to kill a whole lot of you, and they're still here. And if this item has something to do with it, we need to figure that out. So just keep that in your mind as you're preparing, and let's try to shave that 2 hours down to 1. Okay.
I'll see you in 2 hours.
And Hugon grips the table a little bit, and it creaks. And he's like, fine. And he takes the mask, takes the item, pockets it again, and leaves.
Okay. Swish pan back to the rest of the Scooby-Doo bunch here. I'm assuming you guys made a beeline right for the office.
Me and Clues did. I don't know whether
he's following you guys. He's finished his story, so he's just he was. But yeah, he's following.
Okay, so you guys all come down in the basement. You see there's Buck kind of in sleep mode in the corner, kind of tucked away in the corner there. So you're down in your office there, and it sounds like you guys are going to be looking at the actual doorway itself, the shadow gate. Was that the plan?
Yeah, for me it was anyway.
Well, Sonic explained and there's the door. That's the door.
There it is.
See, I told you it was there.
Now, if I remember rightly, this is walled off. Like where the rooms were around a door frame that is walled up.
No, it was an empty door frame. Is that? I'm not sure I understand what you're asking.
What I'm saying is the way that, because what we're in is basically a converted stable, right?
Yes.
And the way that you'd originally described it is the rooms were around what used to be the exit out to the street.
Oh yes, yeah, okay, I understand what you're saying. Yes. So if you were to walk up, okay, yes. So the door frame is around that ramp that used to lead up to the street. Yes.
Yeah, but that is no longer street access. That's
No, it was. It looks like it was probably boarded up and covered at some point. It's not that it could never be excavated again, but at this moment, yeah, it is not a usable egress.
look
And it
over.
dawns on you that this is probably not up to code.
I've got plans. I'm gonna look at Dren and be like, you know much about portal technology?
I've dabbled a bit, and I know some.
If I were to step through,
College.
so I'm gonna step onto the other side of the doorway, right?
Mm-hmm.
And I'm gonna step through as if I were coming out of the doorway into the office,
Mm-hmm.
right?
Mm-hmm.
If I were to step out of the shadow gate, where would I appear? Like, would I appear like in the doorway, on the other side of the doorway?
I guess it depends on where the portal leaves.
Because,
Are you just gonna try and like stick your like one leg in, be like, test?
well, no, I'm thinking more if like I were to put a door in. If the door was closed when people tried to use this against our own will, they would appear in the door and fucking die.
Possible?
I see
Wanna
what you're
try it?
asking. No, I know exactly what you're asking now. Yes.
Some might call it telefragging.
Going back to the Stargate idea, it's like having an iris.
Yes, that's exactly what I'm thinking.
Building it just a few millimeters on the other side of the event horizon.
Mm-hmm.
That thing that you said, yes.
All of that, yes. She's probably like, we could try. I'm always up for experimenting.
Now, the extra... And he's just going to look at her and go, I'll keep that in
I'm
mind.
gonna try and kill you, Vaughn, tonight.
Corbin's literally going to look at her and go, keep that in mind. Oh, and just so you guys are aware, sorry, I'm on the wrong page of notes because I was making, the Felison brother and sister might be stopping by the Harrier later for a drink. Don't start fights.
Okay, noted.
Message that to Gideon's character as well.
Don't pick a fight.
You guys actually message Hugon?
We will.
Okay.
Because we can leave voice messages on the thing for each other. So
I was about to say he's at like his appointment.
he's at church.
Don't ignore that.
Oh yeah, Hugon just like went out and hung out in the lobby essentially.
Yeah. But this is happening while you're in the meeting, I think.
Yeah.
So, the rune that activates this doorway, none of the others have that rune. Brian?
Oh, you're asking me.
I was about to say I'm not a DM. I don't know.
No. Yeah. Yeah. None of the other ones. That's the only one that seems to have the extra rune in it.
I'm going to look at Thunuk. Look at Drain. Stay with me here.
Sits down.
Where did you get this map?
I got it from Drenmai.
Wasn't talking to you.
Oh, okay.
Wait, shit. Where did I get this thing?
You stole
Which
it.
one? You stole it.
Yeah, but off of.
Oh, that's right. Oh yeah, I pickpocketed it off of the bad people.
Yeah, but which one?
I think
I don't.
You-
Wasn't
It was
the
off
nice-
Rickster, wasn't it?
It
was
was.
off-
It was. He was sitting down.
It was the
and he was
lozenge
like-
man.
Yeah. It was Rickster Carter.
Lozenge.
Yeah. The
I'm putting that
lozenge
next to
man.
his name.
So you took a map off of someone who is intrinsically not very good, that has marked on it the only active doorway in this network that just so happens to be in our basement.
You trying to say that somebody's working on the inside?
No, I'm trying to say that if they've got that marked and it says "see you there," something's either coming here or they're going to use this to go somewhere.
Are we gonna have guests? Should we prepare
Maybe.
something?
Which will remind me to send the message to Hugo.
He just lets
So-
it go to voicemail.
Yeah.
It's like last time we had guests, it didn't go well. They didn't like any of our pastries. They're rude.
Dren's starting to like. You can see not quite the like I've got to go pee dance, but it's that kind of like itchy movement thing.
Someone's got an idea.
It's I kind of want to see where it goes.
We
I
could use
hate
Razi.
curious character. I don't think he'll want to after I set him into shit last time.
Add a character. Can't remember the name for it. But familiars, do they have a choice?
No. No.
Well,
Mm,
the backstory behind Razi, he's not just a familiar, so he's got a spirit and will of his own.
yeah, I always
We're
thought that familiars were like, unless they were like summoned creatures, that they were still essentially their own beings that you just had a connection with. That
Yeah.
Yeah. You could ask them to do things, but if you're asking like your familiar to fly into like a flaming building where there's certain death, they would have to take a little convincing.
Yeah.
Not just like, hey, bird, fly in there for me. Oh, you're dead. I'll go get another.
Would it be so bad if I just jumped and then jumped back?
Yes.
She does it anyways. No, just kidding.
No,
Mario Leap.
We also don't know how to turn it on. I'd like to point that out.
Just for fun, since this did have kind of the same things with the mean locks, I want to take my shield and just poke the tip of it through the portal area.
well, nothing happens. It's not currently
Okay, so
active.
it's not. So we'd have to do said rune to activate it.
Yeah, you'd have to dial out.
Mm,
Are the runes around our gate congruent with the runes on the map?
Explain to me what you're seeing
Like-
in your head, and I'll tell you if that's
I'm
matching.
thinking chevrons,
Yes.
right?
Mhm.
So I could then go like and pass my hand over this rune, and that rune,
Mhm.
and that would correlate to another rune combination on the map.
Yes. Yeah, that would be a good that's yes.
I'm gonna
Now,
try
you
and
do-
do the one for Waterdeep.
Okay. So you do that. Each one of the runes as you do it glows for a second, but then it like sputters out and doesn't quite catch.
Mm-hmm.
And you see at the very top of the gate is it looks like a missing, like almost like a hex tile. And that's the one symbol that is on the map
That isn't on the door.
that isn't on the door. But Thunuk, as you see him do that, you seem to remember when you guys had first arrived, you seem to remember finding a hexagonal tile in your pocket.
It was in my pocket.
Mhm.
After you had your meeting with the old man at
Oh,
the
yeah.
at the food truck.
Yeah, the trickster god
So
guy.
is it essentially like a keystone that's missing?
That's kind of what it looks like, yeah.
Okay.
I will take it out of my pocket.
And
How long have you had that shit? I'm not there. Never mind.
So I have a question.
From the distance.
I have a question. Do I think this portal can be used the other way without the keystone?
So could someone dial into your
Yes.
without the keystone?
Because those other places don't have the keystone, and we can dial to them.
Yes.
Right.
But without it's right now you're thinking that without that symbol, the gate just won't work in either direction.
In either direction.
Yeah. It's like trying to start the car without the key. You can turn that ignition all you want, but unless you have the key in there, it's not going to turn over.
I had a really sneaky idea, but I'm not going to be able to do it now.
So that the map has the symbol on it though, the one that's missing.
Yeah.
I'm just gonna plop down and find a piece of stone
Well,
and start carving it.
We've got it on the hex tile.
But he hasn't said that he has it.
Yes, he has. He just pulled it out of his pocket.
Then. Oh, okay.
And went, I've got this.
Can I go now? If it's water deep, and if I can come back, I mean, there should be no harm, no foul.
Should be.
Should.
Have you've been to Waterdeep, right?
Yeah.
There are places in Waterdeep you do not want to go.
It would just be like boom, boom, bada boom, bada bing, we're back.
No, they're in Sirtsmouth.
Quick question.
Yes, Thunuk.
Waterdeep is deep in water?
No, it's the name of a city.
Oh.
It's big
Okay.
city.
That actually is on the waterfront, but is actually above a dungeon. Long story.
It's not deep.
Yeah.
The dungeon is deep.
Available this month.
Okay.
Yeah.
At wizards.dnd.com.
Around actually. D&D Wizards, but man,
that's where the information will be. That's all I know.
Stop buying these books.
So, question for the Dungeon Master.
He's got that look again, guys.
Dun dun dun.
Bob is up to something.
What we've got this button on these forearm things that summons armor. What does it take to bind something to that button?
Oh, you mean like a function?
Like, do I have to sit there and concentrate for a bit to go, this button now summons that?
Oh, for like what armor it concentrates?
Yeah, like if, let's say, Corbin were to acquire some armor, how would I make that button summon the armor?
Yeah, that would be like an attunement type thing.
Right.
That as you as Hugon, for example, if he makes changes to his armor, he would just have to spend about an hour reattuning to it.
Okay.
And then, yeah.
Okay.
In relation to Pinedale, what is the closest
lag out. I'm
Well,
guessing
I think the question she was going to ask is
closest gate.
The closest gate looks like it's somewhere very near the vicinity of El Boulder.
That's a trip through the Chondalwood. How long is it to travel from here to Waterdeep?
Oh, that would be. I'm trying to think. So the distance
Months?
between. Yeah, I think that would be months, right? Because that's like if you do
Over land, traveling 8 hours a day, because traveling at night is really bad idea in the Forgotten Realms.
Yeah.
You're looking at Jesus,
because I think
500 or more miles.
Whoa. Baldur's Gate to Baldur's
Notices
Gate
the
to
DM
Waterdeep
again.
is something like I think like a 2-month journey. So this would probably be like 3 months. I'd have to sit there and get the map out and
And what about now?
How many
I
months?
do remember there was some talk about some form of runic circle in the basement.
Oh, you're really jogging my memory now.
Or was that the thing round the door?
That was probably what I was talking about.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right.
Unless you guys have decided to install like a devil's trap or something in the middle of the office.
Well, no, I was thinking more like a teleportation circle.
No, there's nothing like that. No.
Right.
No.
Are the mages still in town?
From the academy.
Yeah.
Yes, they would still be in town. They're probably getting ready to leave. This is probably their last night in town. Because they got the permission to go ahead and they were able to work it out with the Emerald Enclave that they could open up their new academy in the Chondalwood. So this is probably gonna be their last night before they have to start making.
That would be. I don't think we ever got their names, did we?
You did, but it has been some time. Give me 1 second here. Their names are
one of them.
Vainamoinen,
Yes.
the Dragonborn mage, and then Ashaman, Baragost, Meridian, Obulus the Ninth, a human.
All right.
The
I'm
ninth?
gonna look at clues. Sorry, I'm
Ninth.
gonna look at Dren, and I'll be like. In fact, I'm gonna look at Thunuk, and he'll be like, "Give me the keystone.
Okay.
Take it." And I'm gonna go find Vainamoinen.
Okay.
Because I remember the dude with lots of letters and a name forgot he had a package to give to us, so ignore him.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm going to go to Vainamoinen,
Mm-hmm.
and I'm going to knock on his door.
And the proud Dragonborn opens the door. Master Dwarf.
You honor me with your presence. Question for you. What would it take to set up a teleportation circle?
Oh, a circle? Well, there would be some specific materials.
Such as?
If memory serves, we would have to have a collection of metals indigenous to the area. And we would need to have, we would need to research some specific runes to attune it to the specific place where it's being set up. And it would take some
only
doing.
we would know.
So you want to set up a custom piece?
Yes.
I mean, it's possible there would be some expenses for materials and time and research.
How long?
Well, if we had the academy right here, I would say that we could probably have it done in a week or two. Without having access to my books, it would take a little bit longer than that. I would have to, because there's some calculations that would need to be made in order to make this work properly so that all of you ends up at the same place at the same time.
Is there another way for us to reliably move from a long distance away back to a precise point like a town portal scroll or something.
Well, you'd said itself a town portal scroll. I've heard of research into using ley lines as being a potential way of doing that.
Okay,
As a way of transmitting.
how much would a scroll for say 4 people cost?
Oh,
Or 5 people?
as the DM, I just realized what you're
Oh,
doing.
no, counts as 2.
I'm trying to think of what, as the DM, I'm trying to think of what the appropriate price would be on that.
Or do you think it's something that you could bill our employer for?
Well, we could do that. Another option is that if you see some kind of opportunity for trade in goods and services once we've set up the academy.
You mean other than like having protected you so that you could set up the academy?
Well, listen, that was negotiated between above my pay grade and above your pay grade.
Which we never got paid for, by the way.
That above my pay grade, friend. If it were up to me, we would have paid you on the moment of services rendered.
I understand.
What I'm saying is we could either go through all the official channels and have the academy board of trustees speak with, or perhaps in exchange, once we have the academy up and running, we can look at some kind of option of goods, perhaps services that you could render once of equal value once the academy was up and running.
Such as?
Well, what if we said the safe transport of food and sundries for a specific amount of time equal to the value of the services rendered? We'd be looking to we right now we're looking at resupplies about once every 2 weeks from Pinedale, and we clearly just couldn't have it go by itself. We would need to
realize that there's a whole set of people whose jobs that already is.
Yes, but not nearly as competent as you and your friends.
That would be debatable. And also, if we were
way over the hard sell.
Also, if we were in otherwise employed, we would not be able to make said delivery.
So, should we just then have the academy and your home office?
I'm looking for something a little immediate. You're a scholar, right?
You honor me.
You're a clever boy.
Some would say. I might be one of them.
You're familiar with when the Meanlocks attacked?
Yes.
One of the things that was discovered when the Meanlocks attacked was an old dwarven stone tablet. You may have heard of the Jarrett Quarry Stone.
I have.
This was a telling of that story I'd never seen before.
And like his eyes light up. And he says, "And you still have access to this stone?"
I had sent it off to dwarven mages for study. However, I did reserve right to give people access to it.
Master Dwarf, I do believe we can reach an accord.
Thought we might.
You can see intellectually he's like salivating at the idea of getting new translation. And he says, "When would you need these scrolls by?"
Tomorrow morning.
Well, then I should get to work immediately. I have your word?
Assuming they're good on their word, then yes.
That
If
is all one
not,
can ask.
if not, I'll make them good to their word.
If they're not, may I watch?
You can help.
Ew. The fuck is all that about?
It didn't mean to come out that dirty.
At which point, Corbin is going to go and attune the keystone
Mm-hmm.
to his wristband.
Oh, interesting idea. Okay. So because we're at 3 minutes to 7, are there other pieces of business that everyone would like to take care of this evening? We are obviously going to get to the ritual that the priest is going to perform on the item that Hugon is showing some concern for. But are there other pieces of business that anyone would like to attend to this evening before we close up shop for the evening?
Nope.
No,
No.
I think I'm satisfied.
Drenmai?
No, I should be good.
Okay.
Can I take apart Buck?
No.
And the evening ends with Dren just sort of trying to sneak up on Buck. The eyes light up red as she gets near, and we just
How much is it? How much is
slam
it
the
going to
butt.
cost to put a crossbow turret on Buck?
You know what? We're gonna find out at another time. So
All right.
we're gonna finish on a little bit of a whisper tonight, but I think that's fine as we get ourselves back into the mode of playing the regular game.
Mhm.
You've done it again. You've wasted yet another perfectly good 3 hours of your life watching our little group play D&D. We'd like to thank our accounts receivable supervisor from the Mumbai office, Vishnu Payup. And if you're looking to book your flights to PAX Unplugged, which is less than a month away, it's almost here. You feel free to use our travel agent, Will Price Randomly. You can catch new episodes of Team X every Sunday at 4 p.m. Eastern here on Twitch or
Well, you
whenever
can catch
want.
something every
Something.
Sunday.
Something.
They'll have something, and we're hoping for the foreseeable future up until PAX Sunday, in which case it'll be Drawn and Courtier live for those who will be attending. But you can catch us anytime you want at the Eat Drink Roll Twitch channel or on YouTube. You can also subscribe onto the podcast through your favorite syndication service, including Google Podcasts, iTunes, Spotify, and Stitcher. Follow us on Twitter and Instagram at Eat Drink Roll. Team X is a production of Eat Drink Roll and filmed before a live internet audience. We'll be back next Sunday with all of you hooligans with an all-new episode. Stay tuned for Table Talk.
Oh, yeah.
Yep.
And we are in the closing credit. Yeah, Clues is indeed playing from her car. Did you just lose power, Clues? Is that the problem? All right. Well, I will close your can you? Is there any way you can keep your camera active for Table Talk? Or are you just gonna log out? Okay. All right. Then let's go ahead and. Oh. Yeah. I'm gonna overlay. Because we've got Table Talk overlays. Alright, we're coming on back. We're back.
We're back. So, getting back into the swing of things with the main game. Hopefully we can stick with it for a while. So what did we learn today?
Hugon curses at priests when he's angry.
That Hugon has no shame.
That Hugon is the guardian of the Necronomicon?
Probably. Sounds like.
Hopefully
is
hopefully he recites the incantation correctly.
Remember, it's what was it? Avatu or oh shoot,
Klaatu,
Vatu
Varata
Varata necktie.
necktie.
Neptune. I knew it was an N word. Yes. So that Hugon might actually be in possession of the Necronomicon and has no shame.
Favorite moments? Why don't you lead us this time? Why don't you pick on people this time, Ivan?
Favorite moment? Man, that's tough. You had a really nice little interaction there with. Are they twins or are they just siblings?
They're brother and sister.
Okay. You had a really good interaction there with the siblings. I am honestly constantly a little bit surprised when Brian managed. I don't want to say manages, but when the characters you're throwing at us are like, yeah, we're not just here to beat up on stuff. We're people,
Mm-hmm.
and we have reasons.
Mm-hmm.
I'll confess, my history of D&D has mostly been we're here to be beat on, and we're XP
Murder hobos.
with so
Hi, we're your experience for the day.
pretty much. So it's always really nice when you take these characters, and I'm basically my reptile D&D brain is telling me XP, kill them, and you're like, these are people. And I just don't know how to handle them sometimes.
But that's the nice thing about it is we can have other ways of getting to that experience through creative problem solving and other things. So
yeah.
Besides, it's also, I'll say, as a DM or just in storytelling in general, I'll say this, and this is with any story, I think, you have to have something in your back pocket so that if you want to ever kill that character, and I'm not saying it's the only thing you could ever do with them, but I'm being serious, that you want it to have some kind of emotional impact one way or the other.
Yeah.
And either very, very satisfying, like I'm glad that character died, aka Joffrey, I just got done watching Person of Interest, and spoiler alert, if you haven't seen it, I'd recommend go and see it, but turn your sound down for the next 30 seconds or so. When Elias dies in the final season of that, like here, he was essentially a bad guy, but there was an emotional impact there. And I think that's always fun when you can have characters that at some point as a storyteller, if you ever do decide to, if you want to off them, people are actually going to care one way or another. Or that they don't die. Not going to tell you.
Yeah.
This is Rise.
Who's next?
Who wants to be next?
Well, no, that's what I was saying. You should call on people.
Oh, okay. Well, in that case, Gideon, how about you?
That's honestly hard to say. Largely, I'm just glad to be back.
Connected to the internet.
Yeah, for real. I don't know. I kind of like the little back and forth that Dren and Hugon had tonight.
That was fun.
I mean,
always good to argue.
Dren is a 400-year-old pain in the ass, right? She's a 400-year-old child, and Hugon already doesn't like children for his own reasons, and now he has to manage an adult, and it's just it's sometimes too much, and like the needlessness of her actions is also grating on him.
Now you see what Corbin was going through a couple of episodes ago.
And like he has appreciation for the patience of Corbin now. But yeah, that was.
I'm seeing like a brother and sister dynamic coming out of this. With the ironic thing being is that the younger of the two, the 40-year-old man, is the older brother to the 400-year-old gnome. But it's a fun. But the brother and sister dynamic can be a lot of fun too. Just where they're just constantly picking on each other.
I'm just a smart pain in the ass.
Well, it's not that you're. I mean, yeah, you could be dumb and still be a pain in the ass. It's not that you're smart. It's.
I'm just old. I know a lot of stuff. Yeah.
But yeah, that was good.
Okay.
How about you, Clues?
I was gonna kind of say the same thing. I like the back and forth, and then I really like the map glowing thing, trying to figure it out with Corbin. That was pretty cool.
Good times.
I like
That was
those
really cool.
moments.
What you got for us, DM?
The nook in the background, just like, hey.
I think I think the favorite just like little moment in there was Corbin and Dren having this moment, figuring out the map, pulling down the map and having Thunuk's face right there. I just I think it's just because I can really visualize that, and I would see that like working really well, when we eventually sell the rights and do the Netflix series. I can see that being like one of those keystone moments that if it's not there, people are be like, dude, how'd you cut that out of the show? No, I think that was fun. I gotta say, just the general dysfunction of the group, and I mean that as the best possible compliment. It's fun because it seems like we can rotate from having some serious moments to going to Keystone Cops very, very quickly, but it never feels terribly jarring, and I think it's because everyone has their role that they can play within those tropes. So I think it's but that I in general, I think you guys set up some nice story hooks that I'm going to have some fun coming up with some stuff with you guys over the course of the next week. There will be some messaging back and forth because I think we need to work out some fun things for the next game. And I'm looking forward to all of these things. So, but I think in general, the favorite moment, I think was that little kind of like, are we being, here's Thunuk. Hi, Thunuk.
Are we being cool with each other now?
Yeah.
Oh, no time. Oh.
But just the innocence. It's fun. Yeah. That would be my.
I would like to also say, point out that the interaction between the two siblings and Corbin was very, very, very good. I really enjoyed that.
I think we're gonna have some fun with them.
I think so.
And I think I need to tweet Kate this week.
Here's the thing, like one way or another, it's going to come to a point where sides are going to have to be chosen.
Mm-hmm. And
just like how you were talking about the emotional investment in a character, it's going to be interesting to see how we proceed with that.
Choices will need to be made.
Mm-hmm.
It's almost like I said exactly that thing.
36 or page 42.
Mm-hmm.
It's almost like I said those exact words.
Yes, but like which page will we turn to?
That's
or maybe it's one of those rare ones where it could be page 37, 42, or 51.
That's up to them.
Oh.
Was
I the only one that would ever try to go through and reverse engineer the story and try to find the good ending and figure out which pages you need to get to in the old choose your own?
I've never used a choose your own adventure.
Really?
Nope.
Those were like the coolest.
You gotta remember, he's from a time where there were no such thing as books.
There were no books. Digital. Yes. I found one that actually had an orphan ending because there was no pages that actually would allow you to get to the one good ending in the entire thing.
Cheaters.
Weird.
Yeah.
Say, Bob.
What
do you think?
It's tough. Because usually there's one moment that's a massive standout, right? And
I've noticed you usually have one moment that's a massive standout to you, where you're like, I like this one scene.
yeah,
So when you say something's tough, I think we had it.
Like an overdone.
yeah.
Night,
So
we had a good.
there were a lot of excellent moments
Mhm.
within good scenes. You know what I mean? Like the scene with Dren and Hugon, right? And just the way that she was like not talking to you. The moment, the way, the scene with Thunuk and Corbin, where when Corbin's like, "What happened?" and Thunuk will not stop talking until he's relayed the whole thing.
In the proper order.
The moment with Corbin and the siblings, and I usually hate putting my own moments in there, but like the moment where Corbin was like, "I have no love for Tamsin Oakenthane," right? The getting the seeing of the sister's power and teaching her and pointing out to her that you don't need to be a person of high standing and money to be a person. The moment, just Hugon swearing at the priest, just just lots of cool, like the bar was high across the board, you know what I mean? But like there were a few very standout moments within those moments. And but I will say that and like I say, I'm very low. I tend to try to not to put moments that Corbin's in because it's a bit self-aggrandizing.
Well, if you
Hey
think
guys, look
about
how great I am.
there's scenes Corbin is in, but there are also scenes the DM is in, so it's
But
always
no.
be
What I'm gonna, but I'm gonna say the one that stood out to me most is the scene with Corbin and Dren, where he sat her down and was like, "Hey, time to put your game face on." Right?
Roll me a donut.
He said later. He was unspecific as to when.
He'll fulfill the letter of the contract, if not the spirit.
He is a documenter.
The flaming donut.
But like the moment of like sitting her down, having that moment of, okay, you're our expert here. Time to be an expert. Time to get your game face on. And then the whole thing with them at the window. I absolutely loved that scene. Because it was the best. It was the best of both characters. And but yeah, I think the most standout moment is Hugon swearing at the priest. And realizing that,
and it was mild,
and realizing that he is the bearer of the Necronomicon.
I think I slipped when I was talking about it. I'm pretty sure that I slipped and let out what it was.
You said it was a large book wrapped in.
Well, it's book shaped, like a squarish shape.
Yes, I'm fairly sure I kind of figured out what it is.
Yeah.
I was when you first said it was vaguely book shaped. I was like, well, that's going in, Buck.
Yeah.
So the comment that I'm gonna pull up Discord for just a moment here, where Clues very much almost broke us.
Already gone.
It was. I'm looking for it right now.
No,
Hang
she
on.
deleted it.
Oh, it's already gone. Yeah, it was along the lines. How is it that we tell if something's cursed?
Put your dick in it.
Stick your dick in it.
It's not my fault. And then literally every line after that kept being an innuendo, and I was dying.
I don't think that was unintentional.
That was. It was today was definitely an innuendo laden.
I have this thing and it's cursed. It's like,
And I whip out.
And
this
I
thing.
I don't like to touch it.
Yeah. And I whip out this thing, and it's not small,
expect that.
but it's not big. And it's vaguely book shaped, dude. The women must love you.
Am I shaking my
I
head
hate
enough for
you.
both of us, Gideon?
So much. This is so funny. There's
I'm
like, I
so
could-
angry with you.
You are not angry with me.
Oh, you're right. I'm not. I'm sorry.
That being said, I very much it was nice to see some advancement in backstories.
Mm-hmm.
It will be nice when Dren has to put Razi back together.
better not touch my Rousey.
Better not turn him into a little bastard. It's fair as fair.
I'm telling you, if you rip his head off, he will come back as a Hydra.
Oh, great. I'll kill that bastard too. I can fight for days.
This is where you don't cut the head off; you just cut all of his other limbs off.
Yeah.
Nope.
Boxing Razi.
Beautiful thing he can put back together. He's a beautiful boy.
Yeah, just a lot of cool stuff today.
Yeah.
And it was good to get back into the swing of things.
It
Oh,
was
yes.
the thing that I felt was most important today, though, was the sibling,
Absolutely.
because it made a point. Because, and I know that we'd had this conversation many moons ago, but we didn't want to always feel like we were rolling downhill towards a fight, because a lot of D&D feels that way, that no matter what you do, coming down the pike is a fight. And I think that the conversation today is a good example of how the way that we're doing the story and the way that we're expressing these characters in this world is unlike other stories. Like 2 weeks ago when we had the Crafts episode, and it was just comedy wall to wall, right? That's something you don't really see anywhere else.
It's rare that you see a dumpster shit bomb in D&D.
Yeah, exactly. Which
It's
hopefully,
also a fucking
which hopefully now means the siblings won't be affected by the dumpster shit bomb. But the flip side of that is, now that we're back in current continuity, is being able to still do things slightly differently than than other, like, when I watch other shows, it's always okay, when's the fight coming? That's what I'm always feeling.
Right.
And here, there's this overarching, what I'm looking for.
It's a journey, not a destination to a fight.
No,
We're telling a story, not just telling.
Yeah, but what I'm saying is there is this overarching tension, right? But the end of that the end of that tension isn't necessarily a fight. With a lot of the big podcasts, like your Critical Roles or your High Rollers or your Waffle Crews, 90% of the time, you are always feeling this downhill momentum towards a fight of some form, a confrontation, a physical confrontation. And I've always been the guy, and it comes through in how I play Corbin and other characters. Well, I've always liked the social challenges, stuff like that. And that to me is ultimately important how we're telling the story, which is why I'm not afraid of not making Max the character, right? So making the character.
I do. I want to see a level 20 Dren.
No. There's a different. There's not. I still want to get to level 20, but I'm not sitting here going, if I take the optimal amount of levels in Bard and then switch to Warlock for 4 levels, and then I take a couple of levels of Sorcerer, all of them are based off Charisma save, so I don't need to worry about that. I'm sitting here going, what
and
makes...
then we end up with our Dire Cave Bear with 4 levels of Druid.
Yeah.
what I'm doing is I'm sitting here going, okay, Corbin's history is he came through a monastery. Yeah, he's going to have levels of monk. Yes, he's got this bardic side to him. He's got levels of bard. Like, I'm not sitting here going, wow, I'm going to fully min-max the character. I'm not sitting here looking at a guide on, like...
Now you need your fighter levels, so that way you can boost that stat up.
I'm not going to take 2 levels in fighter for action surge and then second wind just so I can fuck more whores. Like,
with Bardic, by giving yourself Bardic inspiration.
Yeah. But
I say I like what they've done with the system with allowing multi-classing to be relatively easy. Because if I remember back to
previous editions, it was rock hard.
But I think it's sort of like this double-edged sword where I like it. They made it so you can have a multi-dimensional character where, hey, I have a little bit of this, a little bit of that. But because it's so easy, does it then potentially attract? I'm not gonna say it's gonna attract gamers, but the temptation is more there to do exactly that, right?
Well, the thing,
whereas with
the
second,
thing
it was like it's so hard that you're like
difference there.
Start it from scratch.
The difference there is what you're trading for, right? So in 5e, let's take bards for example, right? Every class, because of the way that characters are built, every class has what's known as capstone skills, right? Which are their level 20 abilities. And what you are doing by multi-classing is trading the early versatility of classes for ultimate strength in the capstone ability, right? So for like, I personally feel for a bard that the capstone ability isn't that great, right? Because the capstone's ability is whenever you have 0 uses of bardic inspiration left, you gain 1 use. Right?
That's kind of weak.
And at that point, your bardic inspiration is D12. Right?
Right.
But if you're using your bardic inspiration wisely, it shouldn't be a problem. So it is quite often that bards will multi-class into warlock or multi-class into sorcerer, because the early versatility of those 2 classes and their synergy with a bard in the charisma level of things is so much greater than the capstone abilities that it's just not a consideration of that.
Interesting.
I'm looking at some of them, and I'm actually looking at the capstone thing, and I'm almost wondering did they make it? Because some of them are just like improvement, right? And not all of them, but some of them. And I'm wondering, well, is that kind of good that they don't have like, oh, I need to get to level 20? Because then it takes away that need, that desire that, hey, I need to level up to get to this. It's like, all right, if I get there, great. But in the meantime, let's have a fun ride.
I think what they did with 5th edition is give people a set of tools to mold a character, right? And I don't think they wanted any of the capstone powers to be so powerful that they took away from the molding of the characters. They made that mistake in 4th edition, right? They made it so, what's the word I'm looking for? Disadvantageous to do anything but like stick to one class and go as hard as you can. That they and they focused so much on combat and loot that character fell by the wayside, which is why in 5th edition there is so much more character stuff than was in 4th. And I feel that they've hit a good balance with 5th, where I can make Kane from Kung Fu. I'm a bard monk, right? I'm literally Kane from Kung Fu. You saw that tonight with the sister, where he used his monk training, used his bard side to just talk and educate people. So I feel.
But do you do Tai Chi?
I don't
Probably
understand this reference.
In fact, I do, because I've done it in an early morning montage before. But the thing is just I feel, and the others should contribute to this, but I would much rather have a more malleable character system than powerful capstone ability.
I'm gonna agree with that. I do not. I mean, for many years, my game of choice was 3.5 edition, right? And not a bad system at all, but it lends itself to the more mathematic optimization side of things, just by virtue of its system. Where you do sit down and you think about all the best things that you can do to make sure that your character is mechanically optimal. And one thing that I really love about 5th edition, in my opinion, is that the system is not about that. The system is about building a character that does what you want it to do, both in a mechanical sense of things, but also a what's the word?
Thematic?
Yes, thematic. Thank you. A thematic sense of things. Like for instance, the attribute requirements to, for instance, prestige or to multi-class into cleric, right? You have to be X amount of Ys in order to be a cleric. And yes, certainly you could fulfill that, but to me, it kind of speaks to the journey. Like if you're building your character toward wisdom, like if you're spending attribute increases instead of feats and things like that, you're actually investing in building towards something like that. And it takes a lot of investment. You lose out on what would be considered mechanical benefit for it. And I find the thematic potential of 5th edition's class system to be, pretty excellent in that regard.
Well, this is a discussion we should probably pick up next weekend.
There is one last thing.
One last thing.
About
one more thing.
No. I like and Cleric was talking about 3.5. And regardless of my thoughts on 3.5 and its complete responsibility for crashing the RPG,
yeah, it wasn't awesome. Let's just.
I like the way you're just like, One of the things,
it's God's honest truth.
one of the things that 5th edition did do well was allow for non-combat feats, which is something that has returned in 5th, which was very much missing from 5th edition. So, and
Yeah, that's a good point. That's one of the things that Thonic actually has is it's a non-combat feat, empathy. It just allows them to interact with people better.
Mm-hmm.
And it's good. Like it has function.
Mm-hmm.
It's not a total bullshit gimp feat, right?
Not
Yeah.
not at all.
No, not
And I
at
think
all.
it also depends on the campaign. If you're running a combat-heavy campaign,
well, everything is reliant
Yeah.
on context.
yeah, exactly. But it
in
gives
this
you the
case,
option.
Using the example of empathy, it's both thematic and it's combat oriented.
Mm-hmm.
Like that's one of the things I noticed with 5th edition is not just the unearthed arcana stuff, but the stuff that's live. Is the thematic things do not sacrifice combat, and a lot of the combat things they try to spice up with some theme there.
Mm-hmm.
So even if you do choose to go for a feat that is heavy on the theme, it's still giving you something at least to help you with combat later.
Yeah, like one of the things I'd considered for 4th level, instead of the ability increases, when I get there, is do I take a feat or do I take ability? And I'm suddenly wishing I had alert tonight, so I would have read lips what twins were whispering to it. The siblings were whispering to each other. So I don't know. Anyway,
Well, these are
let's close her now.
yes, these are all things we can ponder over the course of the next 7 days. On Tuesday night, Viking Goat, are we still in Hyrule?
Yes, actually, technically, no. I'm in the Dark World.
Yes, you're in the
Ooh,
Dark
Yeah.
World now.
Oh
Also-
shit! Fuck, you're still doing that.
Yeah,
Yes, I am.
Before late to the game,
yes.
there will be a special edition of 321 on
Oh,
Tuesday.
a very special edition?
Yep.
A very special episode of 321?
It is actually a very special edition because it will be our BlizzCon wrap up.
Ooh.
Okay.
So
What is this? Is this delicious? I think it is.
And we'll all learn a little bit about ourselves and each other.
There's a lot to say, insofar as there's not a lot to say.
But we will not spoil anything. And what time is that on?
There's going to be a Diablo rant.
There will be no Diablo rant.
Okay.
Because
is it Monday or Tuesday that this is airing?
that will be Tuesday.
Tuesday, what time? 12 noon?
That's an excellent question, but it will end sometime before late in the game.
So sometime on Tuesday.
Yes.
Keep an eye on the tweet zors for that particular thing. The cleric and the clues. Are there any announcements on your guys' fronts?
I'm trying to buy furniture when I get money. I need things. There's things in this apartment that aren't in this apartment that need to be in this apartment.
Everybody start sending him milk crates and
Like a webcam.
No,
boards.
please do not do that.
And you can
Just
make
go
your own.
find a building site,
That
make a
thing
bunch
that
of
you
bleach
suggested-
blocks.
I need you to not. That would be great.
And if you have solar panels that you can send to clues,
Mhm.
that would be a darling thing.
No.
No.
Okay. Anyway, everyone, thank you very, very much for tuning in. We will catch everyone all throughout the week, I'm sure. And for those of you who are traveling to Philadelphia in less than a month, we will see you there.
Indeed we
On
will.
that note, guys, have a great week.